I can't wait for the day that we can go to a convention dressed like this and have a panel in person live with people. We'll need an on-person bleeper for you.
So, what did we watch? Why are we here? What's the meaning of life?
Why did someone just watch this video? Well, we're Night's Watch, and we watch things.
Yep, so you don't have to. But you can.
Or if you have watched it and you're just like, oh my gosh, why is this so good? And no one's listening to you, because lots of people are just like, oh, it was alright, it's fine. We do deep dives and analyse stuff and critique it a lot more than others would usually.
Or for the real reason that you're here is because we've developed some sort of parasocial dynamic where you get good feelings from us, we get good feelings and money from you. And
which we appreciate, because
we appreciate.
like,
and I read the comments and my ego
just explodes.
Blossoms,
yeah, slowly. Yeah. But like, I hate when people are like, oh yeah, you give us money. It's like, well, that's kind of how life works.
I mean, yeah, like, as long as you're not
it's like saying,
exploiting.
Yeah, exploiting, yeah, for sure. But I think it's, there's
capitalism.
There's a stigma over, like, watching ads and giving them money. It's like, well, this is our job. We're producing you a product.
I can't believe this is my job, though.
Me neither. I still pinch myself.
You still pinch yourself?
Yeah.
Where? Anyway.
Anyways.
No, seriously, I can't believe this is my job.
No,
dude, I'd be paying Shad for this. I'd be paying Shad to have cool people making comments about me, saying, I appreciate how straight up Oz is. Dude, that's an illusion. Okay? No, but yeah, no, great job. And great community.
Yes.
Keep watching us. Please.
And growing. Because, and people are probably watching this after, so people have watched the recent Rings of Power big long video we did, and they're probably like, oh, what's this other video with Boba Fett? And I think we've got 2 more coming out. We're actually really far ahead in regards to, I mean, I know we're late to the party with this, but we still have 2 videos to go out, and we're filming this 3rd one, so good on us.
You know what we won't be late to the party on? The Halo TV show on March 24th. Book of Boba.
Episode 6.
Episode 6?
Yes.
Because the last one was episode 5.
5, yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Well, just in case, sometimes algorithms mess up. Maybe someone was watching 2 and now they're watching 6.
In which case, it wasn't just the algorithm that failed in its mathematics. It was you. Anyway.
You dingus.
Yeah, silly sausage. What do you think I was going to say?
I was trying to figure out, what is he going to say that he's stopping himself from saying?
Yeah, I was trying to think of something else.
Yeah, nothing else.
So, the episode opens with the Marshal.
Back on a desert planet.
Back to the desert planet, yep. So Marshal is played by Cobb Vanth?
Yeah.
Which sounds identical to the lead character from the movie Inception. Anyway, Cobb Vanth, the Marshal, played by Timothy Oliphant. Completely underrated actor.
I love his character. And he plays, and he's an amazing actor.
Yeah. He was in a show called Justified, where he played a US Marshal.
Oh, man. He just does marshals well, I think.
Yep.
Because I do write a note here where he has... we'll go through chronological order what we see on screen, but we're back on a desert planet. We're assuming spice is being traded because the trade spice people are
the
talking.
Pikes.
The Pikes are talking. But I'm a little confused as to why they're trading with each other.
They're not.
But they are.
So here's how... Okay, let me give everyone a brief 101 on the drug trade.
Okay.
Okay.
In Star Wars, not in real life, in Star Wars.
Yeah, this only works in a galaxy far, far away. Do not apply these principles to life. So someone takes their large amount of drug into an area. That's called drug smuggling.
Yes.
Everyone paying attention so far?
Yes,
good.
You smuggle the drugs
You
to the local area.
You smuggle a large amount of the drugs into an area. You then have your drug dealers, your low-level dealers or, upper to low-level dealers come in and buy smaller amounts of that large amount off of you. They then go into an area and do what they call step on it, which means that they add something to turn 1 kilo of spice into 2 kilos of spice.
Yeah.
Or cutting it. It's also called cutting it. And then they sell that for a markup and a profit.
Yeah.
Then they give that money back to the people who sold them the drugs in the first place, and the cycle goes on and on with re-ups and stuff like that. It's all very...
In this scene, it was probably the bigger drug people giving it to the lesser drug people.
Yeah.
And then they're probably going to go sell it to someone else. Because, I don't know, I just thought that it would have made sense for me as a viewer, not knowing much about how drug dealing works, just to see the lower end,
Yeah.
the pikes being like, hey, have some drugs. Because I would have loved to see some, like, spice addict,
Yeah. Well,
see how the drug affects people.
okay, so those guys who were selling, who at the beginning, those pikes, they were part of what's known as a cartel. Now, they aren't the low-level street dealers or
No.
the middleman dealers. Those guys are just mules.
Yeah.
So what we should have seen, which would have been good, is maybe later on, like, someone from the town comes forth and he was going to buy the drugs. But a junkie who's on the stuff would never, be able to afford it.
Yeah.
Because they just take it all and take it till they died.
Yeah.
Also, that's the one rule of drug smuggling and selling. Never get high on supply. I don't know how I know all this stuff. I hope I'm accurate. Drug dealers out there, comments down below. How close am I? Cartel members, please don't cut my face off. Comments down below. How close am I? Anyway, back to the show.
Back to the show. I guess that was a thing.
So he stopped.
He stopped.
He stopped drug smuggling.
Yeah.
Hooray!
Good on him.
It looked like Mexico too.
With all the sand.
All the sand and the sand people. And the marshal, who looked like a lawman. It came off very Western, this.
It did.
And I really liked it.
It was so... Because this is what they promised Mando would be very Western-y, and they have elements of that.
It's here and there, yeah.
Here and there, but this felt so... Like, you could have taken away the Star Wars element to it, and it would have just been classic Western of the marshal being like...
You're hauling that crack cocaine into my town.
Yeah.
Give me
that
some.
over there is the county, that over there is the other county.
Yeah.
You're in my county now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I say I love the marshal. He has a charisma about him that's controlled. Shown by the fact that he only shoots the people who were going to shoot him, and then he stops the guy that was unarmed.
To get through.
Yep. And then he was persuasive. Like, he's threatening, but gives the last guy a chance.
Yeah.
So he isn't, you can tell he has values and principles. And just, like,
He's merciful.
He's merciful, but he's also heavy-handed when he needs to be. I think he's a great role model. Like, I do a whole little paragraph here saying, like, this is a real role model I would want my kids or myself growing up to look at and be like, that is someone who, that's a man to me. Someone who defends his, has a duty and fulfills it, but also doesn't take advantage of it or is, corrupt in any way.
Yeah.
Like, has a good balance of doing what's right, but also doing what needs to be done.
Although, if he was anything like our actual police and law enforcement agents, he would have taken the money as well. Because they confiscate money. Which, I don't think... If some hard-working drug dealer shouldn't have his money taken from him. Just because he wasn't, the best drug dealer, he couldn't get his money into the Caymans or into the Swiss bank. That's not fair.
That's not fair.
That's why you should use, for low-level guys, crypto.
You haven't had any, interaction with these people, have you?
No.
All of this is from Breaking Bad.
No. The Wire.
The Wire.
Various documentaries I've watched. The Ozark. Yeah, it's all from TV, so it must be true. Who's that?
It's the wife.
Ah.
When you get home, can you clean all the stuff?
Wife, aren't you at home already?
No, she's a working woman too.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
She's going out tonight.
This is why we need robots.
Honestly,
Great reset. Here we come.
I want to buy a robot vacuum cleaner because it would just make that one job. It would take half an hour of my day, but that half hour could be spent on doing so many other things. Like, we got robots. We got like for social. Okay, we're going on a different tangent. We can just cut this out.
Okay, people like the tangents.
Nah, it's not relevant enough. Like, it doesn't lead into the tangent. I just got interrupted.
That's why it's called a tangent.
No, but I got interrupted by something else.
Okay.
Unrelated.
We're leaving this whole thing in.
Damn it!
Let's get back to the video then.
Okay.
Right. So, yeah, the Marshal also, he has a theme. The Marshal has a theme, and it is pure Western music. It is awesome.
Also, he has such a good haircut and beard trim.
Yeah.
He's very well kept.
He's a very handsome man.
Very handsome man. I just look at him and go, oh, one day.
One day you will have grey hair.
One day.
Yeah. Itchy from shaving?
No, I want it to go through.
Let's scratch it.
Yeah.
There's more under the surface. Come out.
Well, yeah, because one of the fun fact, someone who doesn't have a beard has googled how to get a beard, and one of the most natural ways is to get the blood pumping where the hairs would grow, because then that stimulates the hair growth.
I could slap you really hard if that'll get the blood pumped.
It's not so much how much, but how consistently. So if you do it each morning for work, just then I'd appreciate it.
Okay, we'll start Monday if we remember. All right, so it's Friday today. So, Marshall shoots three of the four.
Yep.
Lets the last one go. Lets him take off with the money. Keeps the drugs, and then kicks it over into the sand.
And he tells the guy, "You let your bosses know
respectfully,
this place is not for you to go to.
Yeah.
You keep your spice away from us.
This is a no drug zone.
Yeah.
It ain't a no gun zone.
Yeah.
It's
no.
zone.
Unlike other scenes in Mando where they do hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah, you mean Boba Fett. No, just kidding. Based off these recent episodes, you mean the Mando. What is this show? It should just be the Star Wars show, because it just goes all over the place.
It is. It should be the Star Wars show after the original trilogy, before the prequels, until we get to the sequels. I keep saying...
That's fine, man. We all make mistakes.
I keep saying that.
We all make mistakes over and over again. Yeah. I keep eating bad food. Anyway.
I guess you're a testament to it.
But today I'm drinking no sugar. Because a comment told me not to. That's how easy it is.
Yeah, that's true. I talk about how gentlemanly the Marshal is.
You really like this guy.
I do! I liked him in the last one too. He was an interesting character for me.
His speed is cool, isn't it? Anakin's old pod racer engine? Or from that? Anyway, don't remember his speeder?
I don't remember his speeder in the last season, no.
Oh, okay. Also, right, so he places the chest of drugs on the ground, opens it up, kicks it over into the wind, and I'm just thinking like 120 miles downwind, there's a Jawa crowd that's just getting lit.
The Jawas you see that episode with the giant worm skull? Yeah. Just at the top you can see a whoosh, sparkle, and they're like...
You think they went ape over that egg they cracked? Dude,
oh my god.
Dude, they get...
Droga!
Oh, it's gonna be stuck to their fur. They'll be sniffing each other. Dude, they have just invented a drug problem for the Jawas.
That's what they're... See, that's the thing. You think Jawas is stealing and stuff just because they'll be rich? No, they need that money for that
drugs.
Drug addict. Spice!
Oh, man.
No, I like that he has good morals. He doesn't take the spice, doesn't take the money, because the guy's like, this is worth more than your town. He's like, I might retire early. But he doesn't. He just kicks it into the sand. Which, that is a lot of product there you could sell.
I feel, though, if you're being practical, yes, that's a lot of product you could sell, but you could have also taken the money and then just also sold the drugs.
Either one.
Yeah.
But he didn't. Because he's a good person.
Yeah. And
you can tell that his morals are set on what his role is meant to be, which is over the town.
Yeah,
he doesn't care about any money. He isn't corrupt. He doesn't have any other things to focus on except for his duty. So just, I respect a man like that.
And I have a bit of a not dichotomy. What's the thing we have like two confronting ideas in your head? What's the word I'm looking for?
Like contradiction?
No, sure. I have a bit of a contradiction in my head where on one side I believe that, well, the war on drugs didn't work. Trying to ban stuff just creates a black market and brings in violence and makes it more valuable, which then causes more crime because people steal and kill for it. And on the other side, drugs are bad. Okay? Drugs are bad. Okay? So yeah, it's a tricky one. Tricky one for me.
I think I'm just going to make sure we're recording, because even though I know that Ed's recording, I think I remember. Yeah, okay, good. It's all recording. I just had this feeling of Ethan, check.
He thought that he forgot.
But I didn't.
Yeah, you've learned from the first 3 times that happened. There shall not be a fourth.
No.
If he does it a 4th time.
I'll be back to a squire, that's for sure.
Oh, I meant Shad was going to behead you. But whatever. Sure that.
No, it's interesting because I think in this regard, what the Marshal's worried about, he doesn't care about the drugs so much as it is...
the effect it has on his people.
Yeah, the economy and the type of crowds that brings in.
Yeah.
He's less concerned on what the drug actually is and more concerned on the Pike Syndicate coming in and then taking over town, because they had trouble in the past with people,
true.
and they're happy. All the problems are gone. They're just like, okay, we want to be for once on Tatooine. We want some peace.
Yep, because it's not just a drug; it's influence.
Yeah, it's influence, and the people that obviously it brings are more corrupt and evil than, they want.
And it will turn good people into evil people.
Yeah.
Well, into corrupt people.
Yeah. So, look, I think in some instances, drugs can be used for good reasons, whether it's medical and stuff.
Yeah.
And in Star Wars, that's a thing. Like, spice is used for medicine in certain instances in the Clone Wars, but then there's smugglers who try to get through certain areas saying, "Oh, it's spice medicine for the Clone War effort," and then they're like, "Aren't you a smuggler?" No, and then there's a whole unraveling of the back market of certain things. So and drugs can be used in medical ways.
Yeah,
but obviously, in moderation, fine amounts by people who actually know what they're doing.
Yeah,
who aren't just taking a whiff and going, "Oh, it's good, I want more," and then ends up damaging themselves for the rest of their lives. So
you got to be careful, man. You know who took a whiff? Joe Biden. Anyway, you don't want to end up like him, do you? No. President of the United States. All right. Yeah. So, and then we get to where do we go after that?
Sorry, I have so many paragraphs of saying.
So many paragraphs. Oh, the Marshal.
This man is a real man and a role model. He's actually so good to see. Just because there's so many bad people or role models, or so many dark shows. When you see someone who's a really good person, I'm just like, thank goodness, someone I can look up to. Because every other role model I look up to, I'm like, oh, I wouldn't do that. That's a bit immoral. I don't like that. So, just the way it's going, it's just good to see some goodness, some wholesomeness. And, having that discussion that Star Wars had in the beginning of, good versus evil. There was a time period where things got very grey, especially with the Clone Wars and the way that democracy works. And, Star Wars in general being bounty hunters, you obviously aren't, the Jedi or the Sith. You're kind of in this middle ground who does stuff for money. And so when you see people who are more on the lighter side and have those morals, it's just good to see it's going back to those Star Wars roots of good versus evil.
Yeah.
That's why I just put so much emphasis on it, because that's what got me into Star Wars to begin with. And when things get grey, although I'm grey in some areas, which you've seen me in certain discussions, I'm like, moderation, whatever. When it comes to things that are good and wholesome, I'm all for it.
Yeah. And that's the best story and the oldest story, because it's the truest story. Light versus dark.
Yeah.
Good versus evil.
And then basically, we cut to a green and blue planet, Oz.
A green and blue planet?
Yeah.
Green and blue? What, like water and growing stuff?
Yeah. Not all desert.
Not all
all
sand?
city.
Oh.
Yeah.
Not a big halo ring in space?
Nah.
Okay. Earth. Well,
But
it wasn't Earth.
No humans.
It looked like barley, maybe. Yeah?
Yeah, some sort of tropical area.
Yeah. So there's some R2 member berries. Remember R2, guys?
What's really sad though? I was watching it and I was like, R2 isn't my favorite droid anymore.
Who's your favorite droid?
BD1.
BD1, which one was he?
He was in the last one. He was in the Fallen Order. I used to love R2 growing up, and actually, growing up, I started doing a paper mache, and I wanted to make a legit R2D2 with paper mache, and then do robotics inside, and then when I got the money. As an adult, I'd get it a metal. I don't know. As a kid, I made lots of weird things.
Same. As an adult, I make a lot of weird things. Including
but now you've got adult money, so you can do 3D printing stuff. For me, it was just A4 pieces of paper, plastering with glue, being like, I'm going to make you R2.
Yeah.
Once my dad computer breaks, I'll use those parts to make him.
Oh, man. My favourite droid is the one that Alan Tudyk played in Rogue One.
Yeah.
Big dude.
Yeah.
Alan Tudyk, incredible actor. Does great robots.
He does do great robots. Part of me does have the nostalgia, and I was really looking at him because I was like, wow, it's kind of advanced a lot, because you look at that, R2, compared to other robots and droids we've seen in Star Wars now, a lot of them are very humanoid, a lot more movement.
Yeah.
But basically, R2 is just a trash can with wheels. And it's surprised he still can even go straight on leaves.
Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing. Don't they get caught in that?
Yeah, so...
But I was thinking, man, just now, one day, we will surpass the technology in Star Wars, and it will really feel like a long,
in many
long time
ways
ago.
we have.
Yeah, like our digital technology?
Yeah, it's gone way further than they have. We just don't have holograms.
Yep. We don't have light. Well, we have stuff that kind of looks like lightsabers.
Yeah, but
not as strong.
It's crazy to think that maybe one day when we actually have space travel and droids and stuff.
But we do have an evil empire that controls the world.
Yeah,
and they
always come and go. You know.
Yeah. They always come. That's true. They always
come and go. Because in Star Wars as well, it happens. Like as the Old Republic, Sith come through and make an empire, and then New Republic, and then Empire, and then New Republic, and then New Empire, First Order, Empire. Like it just fluctuates.
First Order cringe.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, I was saying cringe is cringe.
I was saying cringe.
Cringe.
What do you mean? There's two forces. There's two fundamental forces in reality.
Mm-hmm.
There is based and there is cringe. Two opposites.
I agree. But when you say cringe, it just feels a bit cringe, you know?
Guys, comments down below. Is saying cringe? Some people say saying based is cringe. But then you can find being based things in cringe. In certain memes, you know. Like the Doge thing.
Yeah.
Like sometimes they make returns.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever. This is a weird conversation.
The circle of life, basically, is what we're going at.
It's memetic behaviour, yeah.
So Mando comes down,
Mm-hmm.
and let me just see where I was at.
Still on Cobb Vanth. I love this guy. He's awesome.
I'm trying to get rid of it. I'm just like scroll away from all that. When the droids are out there and they're like collecting the stones for the academy, I'm curious where Luke got all that money to hire those droids. Like, does he get tax offsets from the Republic?
Probably.
Does he just talk to Leia and say, "Hey, you're a princess. Can I have a like a family fund type thing to build back
better
Jedi?"
Yeah. I feel like once you defeat like a massive galactic-wide empire of evil, the new government that comes in kind of owes you one.
Yeah, but I mean, when you destroy the Death Star, it was a group effort.
It wasn't just that. He killed the Emperor. Well,
would the Emperor have died in? That's the thing that also confuses me. How did Palpatine survive? Because not only did Luke kill him, throw him down shaft, they also exploded the space station he was on.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
It doesn't make sense!
You weren't listening to the man when he said it. He said, somehow Palpatine returned.
It just makes me so mad. So mad.
Yeah, it was awful, wasn't it? It was so bad. Yeah, so there's the androids. They look pretty cool.
They look pretty cool.
But I'm just thinking, right? There's droids everywhere. He's like, Captain's log. There are droids everywhere. They have forced me to sit and wait. I'm in hell. It's just like, poor guy. Because he hates droids.
Yeah. And I love that they still have that consistency. Because Mando, for one, he's as lost as we are. He's like, what is R2 saying? What are these droids doing? Sometimes, as a viewer, you're confused what's going on, and it's not because the writer's intention is for that. It's because they got bad writing. But I'm glad in this instance, this is a good example of Mando's lost. And we're going to help you feel that way, but making you feel lost as well. And so you're seeing through Mando's eyes how you feel, because you're in this weird planet, weird stuff happening, don't know droid language. Yeah.
Apparently he does, though.
He knows
R2 droid language.
Kind of. But I think R2 didn't say much either. He just shut off. It was just like...
Hit him with the usual beat. Too bad he can't, like, throw up gang signs, man. It's like...
I mean, he's got little things you can pop out.
Because that's a great, like, MC name. R2-D2. What do you reckon that stands for?
Something droid. Repair droid.
Really?
R2. Repair to droid to... Because he the way we get introduced to him in episode 1 is that he's a repair droid for the ship.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, he was. Where was he before that? Maybe he's like ancient.
Sparkling clean.
Yeah.
Also, I just find it funny that R2, just the whole connection with the prequels and the original trilogy,
and then the sequels,
is really beginning to mess with my head.
Really?
Because like with Ahsoka coming in and her being all like, just like your father, and R2's there, and he's just like, man, I've lived a long ass life.
Yeah, fair enough.
Little parts like that where I was like, man, this is like 40, 50 years.
I don't think 50 years. It'll be like 35 years since episode 1, wouldn't it?
No, I think it's longer.
40 years since episode 1? 45 years?
No, it would have been like episode 3. because the Empire was in power for like 50 years.
But
or
Luke
40
wasn't
years.
40 in that.
No.
How old was he in that?
In that's only a few years after Return of the Jedi. You know what? Good news, guys. Okay, we're confused about timelines. I saw on the Star Wars YouTube channel they're bringing out a book called Star Wars Timelines,
Okay.
and it helps you know when stuff was happening, including when Rey got her lightsaber.
Oh, does it go up all the way till Rey's death? So we can just wait till then, till Star Wars is good again? I'm sorry, that was awful. Okay, Rey's just a bad character, okay? Daisy Ridley, I'm sure she's a great actress. Wouldn't know, haven't seen her do good in anything. But, Rey sucks as a character.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Daisy Ridley.
Sorry, Daisy
I want to
Ridley.
like you, but...
I want to like her too, she's really hot. But, unfortunately, I haven't seen her do a good role.
Yeah, you need... talk to your agent and get a really good role. Get something with, like, Caprio in it, and then do something with him.
Yeah. Leonardo DiCaprio.
Really show us your talent.
Yeah. Do a stage play.
Actually, yeah, that's one way to get your acting improved.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways, back to the episode.
Yep.
You're pointing as if you have something to say?
I didn't know until I saw him. I actually missed the little green fella, Grogu.
Okay.
Now,
yeah.
I'm not a fan of Star Wars. I wouldn't say I'm a Star Wars fan anymore, right?
Yeah.
But when you spend enough time watching a show, you build a connection whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
It's like, whether your kid's a little, you just want to, but you still love him, you know? Like, I like the little green fella. He's got he's a little baby. He's a little green baby.
He's got all the attributes for our human brains to be like, aww.
Yeah.
But then, so, by now, we've gone off script with Boba. Episode's not about Boba.
No.
Completely off book. No pun intended. And the opening was really promising because it was the whole Pike Syndicate Spice Run thing.
Yeah,
and
we're
then
thinking, back to Boba.
Yeah, I was like, and I was getting invested in that because the Marshal was, realizing, I'm going to get involved in this now because they're going on our territory, and I was getting interested. I was like, oh man, this is getting good stuff. Because Mando, although he's been doing some cool things, it's like, this isn't what the series is about, and as well, he doesn't have the same drive as he did in previous seasons with Grogu. It's like, we need to find your master and get you back. That was a really good, solid goal to achieve. Where now he's kind of wandering, trying to figure out what he needs to do because his purpose has kind of been fulfilled now. But we've got this other story going on, which I wish they'd focused on more because I was actually really invested in what was happening with the Pike Syndicate. And I feel like they weren't as invested in that story. They were like, it's more fun if we get the fan service with Luke and Grogu and Mando, because you guys all know and love that. That's proven theory. But then I feel like it's going to fall flat with the whole Pike Syndicate and Spice Run because you're not spending enough time on it to establish the dread of what the issue's going to be. Because we know that Mando's going to go back to Boba and then to go do stuff. But there's no build-up now to that. He's just rocking up after his little adventure, which we know more about than we know about the actual situation.
True.
And the way they're going to recap us is that, like, things have been getting worse. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. They keep going on like that, like, war could break out at any moment. And I think it's pretty much confirmed at this point.
I don't think it's gonna... Well, we don't see anything, really. We've seen some tension with the Marshal, and people don't like each other. There's been... They haven't had those elements the same with Mando, like, when you think about all the tense moments we had in, like, the Butcher, and with his other leaders, even, building the ship, there was so much character development and, like, arcs in the story. We're not getting any of that in what I would call the overall importance of the show with the Pike Syndicate and Boba.
Because what has Boba learnt?
He hasn't developed at all. We haven't seen him for like 2 episodes.
Yeah.
And this is his show.
Yeah. So, in the current day for him, like when he's got his armor back, he's essentially on the same footing as Daisy Ridley.
Yeah.
For Rey. He's not doing it. But like back when he was with the Sand People, it seemed like he was at least getting a bit of development.
Yeah, but now, they don't even touch him. So the last thing I just want to say on that point, I wrote a little paragraph. I don't know what you call it. But I said that. But it just feels like this story with Grogu and stuff is an intrusion, and that the writers were worried that the main conflict and story weren't going to be good enough for the viewers to get attached and enjoy.
They were right.
But by not showing the build-up of conflict and how the characters in the situation change and react on Tatooine, and instead focus on, what you'd call filler with Grogu and Luke and Mando, it begs the question that why are you even trying to tell that story if you're not going to have those stakes or that development for the end conflict?
You know what might have happened?
What?
this show might have been designed to be 5 episodes long, right? And maybe there was a bunch of stuff that they'd filmed for Mandalorian season 3, and they're just like, let's put it in this. We'll have more in for Mandalorian. Maybe, I don't know. We'll boost up the thing.
I mean, it makes sense, but I think they plan to have 7 episodes. I don't know. I think it's just a fault of the writers and the storytellers of not realizing that you're taking away from the story you're trying to tell by completely ignoring one of the most important parts. Like there's the beginning and end of the story.
Yeah.
But the most important part, and the part that I think people don't always appreciate the most, is the middle part, which is the build up and the overarching.
It's the change. The change is the important part.
The change is the important part. But we're not getting that. Basically, what we've gotten is Boba has got a little bit of development. He's got some stuff, and then he's ignored for the entire episodes now.
Yep.
And at the end, it's going to be like, oh, look, resolution. But there wasn't the satisfying part of seeing where the change from where he was to where he is now happened.
Yeah. And the change is made interesting because of like the why, the meaning of the change.
Yeah.
So if there's barely any change. Like 2, there's no demonstrable meaning for that change. Does that make sense? I know I said the same thing twice just then.
No, but I get that. Like,
yeah, why is he doing what he's doing?
And why is he changing?
Why does he need to change? Why does Tatooine need to change? You know?
So, yeah, just some fundamental writing techniques I think they need to remember.
Yep. And back to Grogu and Luke Skywalker, with the lifting of the frog, and then Luke does the whole 4chan space program, which we'll show you here. So that was that.
Look at him go.
Yeah.
Wow.
Legend says he's still sending mission reports back from the moons of Saturn.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, just kidding. He's dead.
But okay, opinions on the deep fake?
Not good enough.
Not good enough?
They should have just got another actor who looked similar to Luke Skywalker and done no digital. We would have been fine.
Yeah, I think it's very hit or miss. So my comments were that Luke's deep fake in the first scene with him looks incredible.
Then they get worse.
It changes for certain things. Even when expressing, when he's meditating and then he stops and sees Grogu doing something, really good expression there with deepfake, which is quite hard to do.
Well, you get problems with stuff like that, with anything CG really, when light interacts with it, and when there's any quick movement.
And there's some parts, but I think quick movement in some instances work. Like if he's, I mean, it depends on the angle. What I noticed most in the deepfake was, it was fine if he's just face on or to the side, but as soon as he did like
3/4 turn,
this, or did a head tilt especially, he went, and you could see the movement there. So
they should have just used Sebastian Stan.
I think I have a comment later about Luke, but I think in instances, if you still want to use deepfake for this one, say for example that it's set in stone, what you do is you just cut out those, because they're basically just expositions of him going. You can just cut that out. You don't need that in the story.
That's true.
So, keep the bits where it doesn't look as jarring, but then cut the bits that obviously take you out of the experience. But I do agree, I think they should hire someone else.
Have you seen Sebastian Stan compared to young Luke Skywalker? It looks almost identical, just use him.
Yeah.
Just get him to do the voice and everything.
Yeah.
I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm here to save you, man. Can't really do it, but yeah.
But then I also thought, a green creature eating another smaller green frog creature. I mean, so is life, I guess.
There's always a bigger fish.
We eat mammals.
Yep. Almost exclusive. Oh, no, we eat fish too. We don't eat any... Do we eat any...
Birds
reptiles?
too, chicken.
Birds, yeah. What about reptiles? Do we eat any of those?
Indigenous people do. At least.
I would like to eat a lizard. Thank you very much.
Like, if you're surviving out and there's a lizard, you can eat it and kill it.
In that order? Eat it raw?
I mean, there's people out there who do it with fish, so...
Yeah, fair enough. The Japanese.
Yeah, then I do say that there are some deepfake errors when looking straight up and tilting. And this can be fixed by simply not doing it.
Yes.
Understanding the limits. It's like, now we can make entire CG movies, basically. But people, you have lots of planning and understanding what are the limitations of the tech.
Yeah. I think, though, practical effects will always beat digital effects. Always. Because you can't replicate reality from a computer perfectly.
Yeah,
You can't.
there's some things that it's easier to do in a computer.
That's true. Like,
And
it's a
cheaper.
shortcut.
Yeah.
But what do we learn about shortcuts, folks? Keeps you from getting the results you want.
Yeah.
That's like, look at Nolan, right?
Yeah.
With the exception of The Dark Knight Rises, all of his effects are great, right? Because he does as many practical effects as he possibly can.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think the best method is a mixture of both.
Okay.
I think because they do it in Mad Max, for example, the part where when they're chasing them and then the
explosion?
The explosion, where basically everything turns to pieces.
Yeah, the polecats when he's going over like that.
Yeah. There's so that was both practical and visual effects.
Yeah, because they imposed
extra pieces and stuff.
Yeah,
and it looks great because you can reference the real stuff, and there's still real things in there, so it feels grounded. But they added visual effects.
But then compare that to the end of the movie, where they have that super CG of the guitar and the crash scene at the end.
Yeah,
like.
I just think a mixture of both, and understanding what your limitations are. Because, again, at the end of the day, if you're a director or you're a producer, whatever, and you have a set budget, you're going to use the tools that are best suited for those things.
Yeah. I just think that we should, it pays in terms of how good it looks to always do practical as much as you can.
Yeah, but, again, visual effects, you still need visual effects for certain things.
Absolutely. Like, we can't just go into space to get shots.
Yeah, and I'm not saying as well that, like, you should regenerate everything from... like CG. I'm saying visual effects in the sense of if you want to be practical back in the day, what they'd do is in Star Wars they'd film the ship behind a blue screen and then cut that out and impose it on another piece of film. And then
now they have the projector.
That's how they composite it. Now you just do it in After Effects.
Yeah, but now also they have the projector.
Yeah, the projector in the back screen. So
which is awesome. That's what I would call that like a middle ground.
Yeah.
You know?
And again, that's what I'm saying. Like I think those are good visual effects. So I think a mixture of both and not always like understanding your limits and not always, doing what George does, which was fix it in post.
Oh, we'll fix it in post.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll fix it in post. No, it's like
that man was ahead of his time, though.
Yeah, he was.
Like if that guy had started making Star Wars movies now, they could do it now. Yeah. So
well, look at Peter Jackson. Look at what he did with Lord of the Rings. And yeah, this is a massive tangent, but you came to us.
Yeah.
Right. So like, Lord of the Rings 1 and 2. Massively, like they used practical effects a lot there. There was a lot more CG in the third one, and it shows. And so that's where my bias comes from. I saw the second one, and that's my favorite.
Yeah. So, but I think an element of both works perfectly.
Fair enough.
Because there's one of the really cool things I've been watching is with Cast and Corridor Digital. They do some really good VFX breakdowns, and there's one where I forgot what movie it is, but it's about when the tsunami hits Indonesia. And it was directed by Clint Eastwood.
The Impossible.
And
no, that would have been Hereafter.
Yeah, what he does is they mix both practical and computer-generated effects. So, for example, back in the day, water simulations were not a thing. You did not do that. And so what they did was they got the actors in an ocean and filmed them, on a gimbal, whatever, and then they imposed that behind digital elements. In the background blurred because they understood the limitations of the technology, and then they did another separate simulation for other stuff. And so I think, again, it's going back to when we're talking about visual effects, it's understanding your limits and also working with what you have.
Yeah, and in Lord of the Rings they used a ton of miniatures.
Yeah,
like with the dam getting broken.
Fantastic.
What's it called? Isengard. Where they're taking the hobbits to, like with the tower and all the orcs down below and all that, fighting the tree people, all miniatures with digital puppets.
Yeah.
Cool stuff.
I think that's the best way to do visual effects, where right now you've got an actor and deepfakes I don't think are ready. Yeah,
you make a good point. Maybe I'll concede on that.
Wow. Wow.
Okay, Mario.
Yahoo! And then there's a part when Luke lifts up all the frogs, Grogu's eyes get super wide because he's like, "Whoa, man, it's a lot of frogs!" That would have been CG to make his eyes go that wide. But I was just like, "That's adorable," and I was like, "Damn it, I'm enjoying this. Why am I enjoying this?" And the way that Luke talks to Grogu, saying that you remind me of my old master, and he'd be starting to talk, and I'm just like, I can't hate on this. Because this is where my fanboy comes out too much, and I can't criticize it because everything starts to become rose tinted. I imagine myself being back at my parents' house watching a VHS tape with my, Return of the Jedi and Vader talking to Luke and him being like, I know there's still good in you, and those childhood feelings come back.
That's the thing, though, right? That is what I'd call, that is memories and, fan service, but it's not, what's the word? It's not crude. It's
like
not
forced. Unnecessary.
Like in the last Star Wars movie, where like, what about the sacred text and Yoda ghost shows up?
Yeah,
that was forced. I didn't like that. Right?
Yoda's force ghost comes up. I was a bit forced,
It's not working. No. Sorry, I'm kidding. I wouldn't force choke you. I'd use lightning. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So it was. I don't mind it when they make callbacks. Like the character gets to walk around, talk, and you can feel the characterization come through that way.
Yeah.
Because it felt real.
Theme in the background. He'd be like, nostalgia! Damn it! They got me with it.
Have you seen Lego Yoda?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I have. Okay. Also, I don't know who the actor for Luke is, but he feels a bit jarring at times.
What do you mean jarring?
Like the way that he walks, it's very rehearsed. Like he walks, then he goes.
Maybe he's making those moves so they avoid the harsh transition for the deepfake.
But even then, if you're just going, you can blend it.
Yeah, true.
If it's just a big motion blur, you can blend that. I've worked in After Effects enough to know.
You know what might have even been cooler? If they didn't show his face at all. Like, it just did. Like, you could show things from Grogu's perspective. Whenever he looks up, you only see, like, this
You only see no hairs.
Maybe. But just, like, if they'd... It would have added a bit more prestige to Luke, I feel like.
Oh, yeah, true.
In that moment.
And then at the end, you could have had the reveal like that is Luke. I think... I agree. That would... Okay, I'm conflicted, though, because part of me is like, that's great. That would have shown more respect to Luke as a character, and, like...
and the actor.
And the actor as well, Mark Hamill. Like, that, I would have really appreciated that, because it would show... And it still gives him that weight that we all have as...
Yeah, exactly.
As, it's Luke.
Yeah. We'd know from his voice and his clothes.
Yeah.
But if we just didn't see his face, I think that
But part of me also is like, okay, we need to get away from that, because I had that in The Force Awakens, I waited throughout the entire movie to see Luke. And the very end, you see Luke, and then it's the end. And I got so mad, because I had to wait 4 years to watch it.
Yeah. Because Mark Hamill was pissed too.
Yeah. I had to wait longer than most to watch the next one, and then even then, it was awful.
He thought he was going to show up at the final fight scene with Ren. Yeah, he thought that when the lightsaber flew, he was like, yeah, okay, here I am.
Yeah.
Like, no, you're not. You're at the very end. And then the next movie, you're the exact opposite of who you were.
Yeah, exactly. And
he hates it.
Yeah, he hates it. I just love that in that press release it goes, it's not what you think, okay?
Yeah,
It's not like a childhood. This is completely different. Like...
And then you see him after the premiere when he's standing there with the director, he's in like shell shock. He's got the 1,000-yard stare, the 1,000-light-year stare.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I love red carpet interviews. My favourite one is with George Lucas. If you guys haven't seen it, can we just insert this one? It's really funny.
Chuck it in. How long is it?
It's only a few seconds. It's with the Jurassic Park. Director comes in. He's like, now we're gonna beat... I showed you this one thing. He's like, now we're gonna beat you. It's next premiere is like, I'm gonna crush like a bug. Like... I love George so much.
Oh man!
Have you seen that one where they're doing a documentary for something, and then George Lucas just walks in the background and goes into a hotel? No. It's... Well, let me just see if I can find it quickly.
George Lucas, man, he's an enigma.
He's iconic.
Process. They're dissolving this thing in a molten salt, and they're doing electrochemistry on it. Why don't they call it molten salt? They want...
Is that Klaus Schwab?
I don't know, but George Lucas just like full on walks behind him and then goes inside.
He's like, oh, a camera? Okay, bye. Yeah.
Like, part of me thinks maybe he did that. He's like, oh, I'm gonna play with them. Imagine the cameraman's just like... George, the prequels!
New Star Wars, what do you got?
So...
That dude did look like Klaus Schwab, though.
Yeah, I love Star Wars so much. It is okay.
It was something that was a big part of my life when I was a kid.
Yeah, same. But that's why I love it, okay? When I look at Disney, the stuff they've made isn't the Star Wars that I grew up loving.
Yeah.
It's different stuff. It's a shallow hole of what it once was.
These past 2 episodes have been better, right? So I have hope for the future, but at the same time, I see where everything else is going, and I know that nothing stays the same forever, and eventually all this crap has to end.
Yeah.
Including the world, right? But yeah, I don't want to hold out hope, because when you have hope, they can be dashed.
Yeah. Anyway, Luke gives Grogu a flashback of the clones invading the temple.
That felt cheap to me. It felt like it had the polish of, it's like it looked good, but what did I write here? Jedi in flashback using underhand grip, which is crap. Yep, true. Grogu flashback feels cheap despite the polish. Yeah. I don't think we should have seen it. I think maybe we should have heard it.
Maybe even just a flashback of Grogu and seeing in his eyes, sabers moving and
yeah,
blasters
just to
shooting.
show it. It was in the Jedi Temple, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
but it also it frustrates people when there's like 3 Jedi and then all the stormtroopers are like poo.
That's not how that's meant to work. They should just be able to go.
And then they're like, oh no, they're shooting 3 bullets like every 5 seconds. Like, look, if they're overrun with bullets, for me it makes sense. But
that's how they got Kiadi-Mundi.
Yeah, because they just full on like.
You hear them switch it to auto.
Yeah,
yeah.
Like that guy couldn't block those bullets. That was the thing.
Kiadi-Mundi. He was a great looking alien Jedi.
He was a good looking guy.
Is there any bit of a tangent again? Is there any expanded lore on Kiadi-Mundi specifically?
Yeah.
Because I'd like to read something about that.
I think there's comics or books at least.
Okay.
Like, he's popular.
Audio books I'm getting into now. So
yeah. Also, he's in the Clone Wars a bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Same actor for the voice? Similar?
I don't know.
I don't know.
But they always do similar.
Because here's the thing. Like, his character, he was actually, like, concerned with serious stuff. Like, for example, right? All this war is going on, right? People are like, let's get General Grievous. I know this is a bit of a tangent, but this is serious stuff, right? Get General Grievous, defending Coruscant. But what about the droid attack on the Wookiees?
He was there.
He asked the question, man. No one else was thinking about the Wookiees.
Yeah.
I stand with the Wookiees. They're our brothers.
Yeah. He was a good guy.
Yep.
He was a good Jedi. Yeah, look, it was still cool to always go back to the prequels for me, but I will admit it felt a bit cheap and it didn't have the same weight. It was kind of just there because it was there. Like a lot of the stuff in this episode and this kind of segment with Luke and Grogu, things are just... It's not meant to be in the Book of Boba Fett.
It's not. It would be good if it was in The Mandalorian, and it kind of was, in a way.
Yeah, like that would have made more sense to me, or if it was Grogu, or heck... See, actually, do I talk about this now?
I just had a thought.
Yeah?
What if Grogu is a female?
I think they say he, though.
They say that.
They say he.
But what if...
But I think Ahsoka would know.
Would she?
Well, if she's talking to Grogu through the Force.
Yeah,
and then she's like, so, how are you doing?
Also,
Is he well?
So, Grogu's 50, right? He's still basically a toddler. Does he have diapers, or like is he toilet trained? What's the go?
Don't know. There's just some questions you don't answer.
If he had diapers, then the Mandalorian would know whether it's a boy or a girl.
Yeah.
But if he's toilet trained, then how come he can't really like communicate or do anything else? Yeah. It's weird, man. These aliens are weird.
Yeah. Well, the Yoda species aliens especially.
Yeah, they live to like 1,000, don't they?
Because but that's the thing too.
Yoda died at like 900.
With Grogu, it's like he understands. Well, the thing is as well, because he was captured and isolated, and so a lot of his memories and I think the way that he just learnt kind of regressed a lot because he was in isolation.
Yeah, humans break down. You know, social creatures break down in isolation.
So I think I reckon we'll see him speak in the future. I don't know how soon.
I wonder what he's going to sound like.
But
That'll be weird.
Yeah, and I want to know whether it's going to be like a Yoda. Yoda, what's it called? What did they call it?
Speaking riddles.
Riddles? Or whether it's going to be like just normal... Because he's growing up in
He's going to sound like a kid, probably.
Yeah.
Talk like a kid.
Where was I going with this?
We were wondering what he was going to sound like, what he grows up, what he is, blah, blah, blah. What he is. What is he?
What is he? Yeah, but it's just different developments. Because like some kids, for example, they can understand what you're saying and whatever, but some their speech just doesn't come until later.
Which is not a good sign.
No, but I had a nephew who was like that. He didn't speak till a lot later.
And he's all good?
Now he doesn't shut up.
Make it up for lost time.
He's just...
He's a rap god.
And you're just like, oh my goodness.
Alright. Oh yeah, also I have a prediction for the Jedi Temple thing.
Yeah?
I bet Obi-Wan and Yoda will be the ones to have saved him in the flashback. because they went to the Jedi Temple in Episode 3 when that was happening afterwards.
Yeah,
they kind of like wiped him all
I
out.
don't think he's going to be saved.
But how was he alive then?
So here's some theory, because the theory that I've kind of read a little bit in and then kind of thought of my own brain process with Grogu is that the Empire used him to make new clones for Palpatine, because he had very strong Force sensitive DNA, and so they like incorporated parts of Grogu's DNA with the Emperor's, and that's how we get Snoke. People were like trying to make, connections with that, and so I think maybe he'll escape the temple or whatever, but he will get captured eventually by the Empire, because that's where they had him to begin with, and that's why the bounty came on for Grogu, because they had him.
We did see the clones and stuff like that of Palpatine that didn't work out. Yeah.
So that's the connection. I don't think it was Obi-Wan or Yoda.
Maybe probably not.
But yeah,
who knows?
Again, those are questions that can't be answered yet.
Yeah.
That's the mystery, Oz. You like the mystery?
Yes.
Yes, you do.
Wait, do I?
Who
knows? Oh yeah, and then
Ahsoka shows up.
And they keep talking. They go talking about. I didn't like Ahsoka's acting in this. I thought her acting was bad.
Ahsoka felt different in this one.
She was doing all the hand movements like, what do you think?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, it didn't feel natural.
Yeah. My comments with her, she felt... Obviously, she's changed a lot since... Because I watched lots of Clone Wars. I've started watching Rebels, and she appears in that a bit later, and she's obviously more adult. But she feels very different right here compared to anything else I've seen her in.
She seemed a lot darker in the first episode we saw her in The Mandalorian.
Yeah, I think that's partly because she was on a mission and a hunt.
Yeah.
And she's very much got, like, Anakin's attributes, because she was his Padawan, and so when it comes to combat and stuff, she's a lot more darker.
Oh, so she's like powerful light, powerful dark.
Yeah. But in other like social instances, she's very bubbly, warm, charismatic, welcoming. Or in this one, she's very like.
She seemed a bit.
Why are you here?
Yeah.
This is a bit sus. She's like the bouncer.
Yeah,
at the club.
It felt like she was putting something on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then she argues with Spaceman. I'm going to call him that from now on. He's not the Mandalorian. He's a spaceman, right? He argues with Spaceman. You shouldn't go and see a kid.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there thinking, who are you? My mum's divorce lawyer? Like, let the spaceman see his kid.
Yeah. I say she seems a lot colder for someone, because she left the Jedi Order because she felt adamant about different things.
Yeah.
And so I feel like she would... I don't understand why now that the Jedi Order's been rebuilt, she's like, no, go listen to Luke, he's the master, this is the Jedi way. But she was one that left the Order and was like, there's fundamentally things wrong with the Jedi, so I'm not going to follow them as much.
I feel like Luke would recognise that. That's
one of my biggest issues in this episode with the whole story with Luke and the choice we have at the end, is that I feel...
that somehow Palpatine returned? Sorry, man. Sorry to deflate your thing there.
It was good, though. No, because it feels like they haven't learnt. Like, I've watched lots of... one of the things I played a lot growing up was Jedi Knight, Jedi Outcast.
Okay.
And it's about you're a Padawan at Luke's Academy.
Oh.
And then you go around and you... your master was... I forgot his name. I hope they bring him back, but I feel like they won't, because he's a bearded white guy. Like, just a typical...
Can't have that. Well, we
can
only have
guy.
one, and that's just in a series made from 40
but
years
I forgot his name. But they made a game about him first, and Luke finds him, and then they like start to make the Academy, and then the sequel is Jedi Academy.
Okay.
Outcast is the first one.
Okay.
And then, because it's called Jedi Outcast. And it was so good, because you see the temple is all built, he's got all these Padawans and Masters, and like it's like grown so much, and this was before Disney or anything, and so it was the best.
Was it really good?
It was.
I'll play it.
Like, it's old, and it's a bit outdated, but it's still a good time. You've got amazing gameplay powers you can do, and the cool thing about the game, right, which they obviously don't implement here, is that Luke is like, there isn't so much force-wielding powers that are light or dark. It's depending on how you use them.
Yeah.
So although you can use lightning and force choke and stuff, he says it is the ways in which you wield those abilities that determine where you end up.
And also there's just fundamental doctrinal issues with the Jedi.
And with, I think as well, with the prequel Jedi Council. Because I think the Jedi, they fundamentally change through the times and ages.
They do.
And, you know, if this is a new reformed Jedi religion, I think Luke should probably talk to Ahsoka and be like, you left the Order. What are the issues with the...
Yeah, she was there. She knows.
Yeah, you can just ask her, why did you leave, and what are the reasons, what mistakes should I not reproduce? One would be attachment, I think.
Well, yeah, people, human beings, you know, whether you're a Jedi or an alien or whatever, if you're a social animal, you need attachments. Now, I think what the doctrine of the Jedi meant originally was, don't be attached to anything physical. You know, have spiritual attachment. That's where they get the Force from, right?
Yeah.
But that's the thing. It's like you need attachment to other people. You need everyone needs love. Everybody.
Yeah. One of the biggest flaws I found in that whole attachment debate is that like Padawans and Masters, you get attachments to them.
Yeah.
And as well, you know, you see throughout the entire just Star Wars stories in general. Like Luke, he's got a sister and a brother-in-law and Chewie and R2
and his father, who was on the dark side.
Those are all attachments.
Yeah. And it was through his attachment to his father, who he barely knew. He only knew him for being evil and cutting his own hand off.
Yeah.
It was through that attachment that he's still like, there's still good in you. And because of that...
The galaxy was saved.
The galaxy was saved. Through that attachment. So, Luke should know, and we're going to get onto that choice, that ultimatum at the end, because I'm pissed about that. Luke should know that there's fundamental doctrinal problems within the Jedi Order.
Yeah.
Sure, have it as a religion, don't be attached to anything material.
Yeah, and you know what? There's obviously books in scripture in the Jedi Order, and just like scriptures in real life, you look at that in the context that it was written and try to apply it to modern day, but also understand the cultures and, you know, mistakes.
Yeah. And also sometimes though, right, and I'm being a bit biased here because this is my own system of belief, sometimes they're misconstrued by either you or by others, and you have to go very deep to find the true meaning.
Yeah.
And compare it to other things that have been, you know, so yeah. But given that it's a fictional religion, I feel like, you know, they should probably try to round out the whole no attachment, because it doesn't really fit with the protector.
It doesn't, yeah, because...
Where's the need for protection if you have no attachment?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So there's fundamental things that just need to be discussed there.
Yeah.
Ahsoka says there's no safer place in the galaxy than with Luke. And I kind of think, you know, Mando... Although, you know, as a worried parent, even if your kid's in a safe place, I guess you'd still worry about it. Part of me is like, Mando should be like, oh yeah, he's with the Jedi, the guy that defeated Darth Vader. I think he'll be alright.
Yeah, but just being separated from your kid, you know, that's the
would
pain.
Be hurtful. Yeah. Also, okay, so then Mando's like, well, why is he training with Luke and not you? And they have a whole discussion there.
He's
and then
the master.
Or Ahsoka says that it was Grogu's decision to train with Luke, or not to train with Ahsoka. And part of me is like, okay, firstly, how did Grogu know not to train with Ahsoka? Maybe it would make sense if she's like, I'm no longer a Jedi, and goes, oh, okay, I don't want to be trained by you because obviously you're kind of the middle, the grey Jedi, I guess you'd call it.
Which I'd say is a safer option.
Yeah.
Better option.
But at the same time, then how did he know that he had to go to someone else? To Luke, for example.
You could chalk it up to Force mumbo-jumbo, you know, like there wasn't a spiritual connection or something like that.
And that wasn't even Ahsoka's original argument for not training Grogu. She said that he's too attached to you, I can't train him. So she's telling us two different things. First, back in the day when they first met, she's like, oh, he's too attached to you, I can't train him, he's too hard to train.
Yeah.
But then she's like, but he didn't want to get trained by me anyways. So again, there's just things with Ahsoka's character here that I'm questioning, because the Ahsoka I know is a lot more upfront and talks about things how they are. Very forthcoming, but also very caring. Like she's just a good balance of character.
What I think is going to happen with Grogu, and I hope this happens, I think that he's going to choose, and we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves, but it's on the subject, I think he's going to choose neither of the gifts, and I think he's going to be the first Mandalore was both Jedi and Mandalore. I feel like that's all Grogu will be.
Grogu will be the first, or the last.
First and the last.
Yeah.
And since he will live for 900 years, he'll have a pretty stable kingdom.
But then you know what? Then why wasn't he helping with the First Order?
What do you mean?
Why wasn't he getting... If he's a Jedi, why didn't they go... Rey wasn't the last Jedi? Grogu was out there being a Mando Jedi?
I hope they retcon all of those movies.
They're not going to, I don't think.
Probably not.
Probably not.
But that's one thing I still have hope for.
But yeah, again, Ahsoka's being cryptic. She just needs to come out and say that, like, look, I understand you want to see Grogu, but right now, he's struggling enough as it is. If you go see him, it's going to be harder for him to train.
Okay,
But okay, I'm not saying that things. I don't think it's the right thing to do. I'm saying instead of being all cryptic and what does she say? She's like, "Are you thinking about yourself or about Grogu?" Like instead of being all cryptic and trying to get Mando to think about his actions, just be like, "Okay, this is the situation we have. It's up to you, but I just need you to know, from my point of view, this is what I say."
Yeah, well, the Jedi, their point of view is a bit twisted sometimes. Look, the thing is, right, Grogu misses him.
Yeah.
And he misses little Grogu, right? And so that's a connection that separation isn't going to help, you know? He should come back every so often to check on the little fella. I don't see anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
It could inspire him. It could be like, yeah, you know, I'll come back. You show me what you can do next time I'm back here.
Yeah.
You know, I want to see your progress. Like, it just, you can't... Yeah, that's basically his dad. Bloody Grogu probably imprinted on him as soon as he opened his eyes from the pod.
Yeah,
you know?
I thought about that too. I think
Yeah.
there's that whole dark stage of Grogu's life being the Empire, and then he finally escaped, and the first thing he saw that was his, freedom was Mando.
Yeah. So, I'd like to see a good middle ground between the two. And maybe that's why this is a good... Maybe this is where the good element of the story is coming from, is in the fact that there's two sides here. You know, I
kind
feel
of weighing back and forth.
The guys who are supposedly the most virtuous ones are making bad decisions, in my opinion. You know?
And the guys who are bounty hunters and
Morally
work with
grey.
crime lords are the ones that you're like, yes.
Yeah, so...
yeah.
It does have a lot of problems, this show, though. Let's be very clear. We're finding things to like as well as things we don't like. Pretty blatant, yeah.
But then there's a part, right, so then Mando's like, I have this thing to give to Grogu. I want to give it to him. And she's like, if you're set on it, allow me to give it to him. That's when I felt Ahsoka was coming through, because she had her principles and ideas, but she was willing to compromise as a character. Because, I mean, back in the day in Clone Wars, when she was early on, she was very... It's very hard to bear her and her personality, and she was very, I want to do it all, I know it all. Hothead, basically.
Yeah.
But through the series, she learnt from her mistakes, she became more compromisable, getting what she needs, but also working with others. I mean, dude, she faced up Darth Maul.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's in that last...
In the last season. Last season...
She fought Anakin too.
Yeah. She fought Vader.
That was like I haven't watched those things.
Yeah.
But every so often they'll come up like Obi-Wan fighting more like...
Yeah.
That stuff does hit me in the childhood.
Dude, and okay, I tell you what, if you want to see an amazing bridge from Clone Wars to Episode 3 and basically to what happens, I think there's... So, just to say, this is good Star Wars. The first few episodes of the last season, very filler. She goes down to Coruscant levels, meets some people, help them, and you actually run into spy stuff as well. I mean, I guess it's just a bit of an arc for Ahsoka and for the kids to enjoy, but then it gets into the heavy stuff with the Mandalorians and Mandalore and their planets.
Yeah, I know a bit about that.
And Maul taking over and stuff.
Yeah,
and Ahsoka comes in. And...
Obi-Wan's missus getting killed or something
Yeah, stuff like that. And then basically Maul realizes what Palpatine's plan is.
To kill all the Jedi.
But not just to kill the Jedi, but to
Empire.
Become the Empire. He figures it all out before any of it happens. He senses it. And then he talks to Ahsoka and stuff. And then they talk about Luke and Anakin and like stuff like that. And so...
Good connection point.
And it's such an amazing... I just think about that show and I watch it again.
I'll check it out.
Maul, although being a Sith Lord back in the day and still a pretty bad guy...
he still has a principle?
Yeah, because part of him's like, he's in tune with the Force. He's salty at Palpatine because Palpatine just kicked him off and got Count Dooku instead.
Yeah.
And then when he starts to do his own thing, Palpatine basically shows up and is like, no, rule of two.
Yeah.
You're gone. You're no Sith Lord. Rule of two. And then you also even see... yeah, there's so many good things in that final season. If you want good Star Wars, then watch that.
But does he try to in any way prevent or at least like counteract the Empires being built?
He's like, it's too late.
Okay.
He's like, he figured out
the master... Trying to warn anyone?
No, because there's no point. He's just he wants to try because he knows what's going to happen. So with Mandalore and stuff, he's trying to kind of take over. I mean, it's been a while, so I can't remember everything. But from my memory, he's trying to hold a part of the Empire so that when it does come to the point where they take over, he still has a spot somewhere where he can live and kind of thrive in a way.
Okay.
So Mandalore, he tries to take over so then he can be a ruler of something in the Empire.
Yeah.
Which doesn't work anyways.
Doesn't work like that. They had governors. Imperial governors.
Which
is very much similar to 40k.
Yeah. So, yeah, just really cool Star Wars stuff. If you're getting annoyed at some of this newer stuff, check out the last season because it is actually really good. And
I'll check it out. You've convinced me. My mate Petrus, who you know, he keeps telling me, "Come on, man, watch it." I'm like,
Just
but
the
you know
last season.
what? 2 people.
And when Ahsoka shows up with dude, because Ahsoka's there when Order 66 happens. She's in a starfighter with all the clones.
She's going to leave, and then they're like, "Good soldiers follow orders."
Yeah, and so they execute Order 66, and then Rex, and as well. Oh, so many good things in Clone Wars, right? Because one of Rex's old colleagues, 555, yeah, fives, they call him, because all of his unit numbers just fives. He gets imprisoned by the Separatists, and they do experiments on him, and he comes back as like a cyborg thing.
Yeah.
But he finds out that from the experiments, they found out that they put something in all the clones' brains, and so Fives talks to Rex and says, "Hey, dude, like, there's this other plan that I don't know about it, like, conspiracy theorist," and Rex is like trying to just like figure out what's happening, but also doesn't want to cause alarm for anyone. I think you'd really enjoy it. Like, it's really good stuff. And then when it happens, Rex like realizes what's happening. He's like, I can't control it, but like this thing's happening, and so he's going to shoot Ahsoka, and they fight over it, and it's such good tension. It's such good television.
Yeah.
And the sad thing is, right, when Ahsoka shows up, what the clones do for her platoon is they change all the helmets to orange and blue in respect to her.
Nice.
But then at the end, those are the ones that are shooting her,
Man.
and she has to kill them to defend her and Rex.
That's sad.
Like, it is such a heavy moment. And can I just spoil the ending for you?
Sure.
There is a part where, so basically on the ship and it crashes, and then Ahsoka and I think Rex, they survive, obviously. And there's a part where Vader lands, and what Rex and Ahsoka do before they leave is they bury all the clones. And they put sticks on the ground in their helmets as graves.
Oh, I remember.
And the last shot
Vader.
is Vader coming in and kneeling down and like looking at all the like graves.
Yeah.
Powerful storytelling. Like, that is...
Yeah.
Filoni is finest, and I just wish there was more... Like, that feeling of great storytelling, respecting the origin of the story, understanding the characters so fundamentally that you can then just weave in these amazing story beats. That is missing from shows like this, because I think there's too many hands in the pot. If you just give, like I said before, someone just single vision of what they want, and I think constraints are fantastic.
Absolutely, yeah. It's
they have one season to put all that stuff in.
Yeah, really. How many episodes?
I can't remember, but like that was the final season. Basically, Disney's like, you can do a final season of Filoni, but that's it. And so he did that. If they had, but they don't have those constraints as much with this show. They just want content pushed out on Disney Plus.
Yeah. There's no, like, for example, with that one, he's got one season to wrap up an entire arc.
Yeah.
But with this, it seems like they're just like, okay,
they're prolonging all the events.
It doesn't feel like there's a story that's coming to a close.
No, never.
But hey, just on a bit more. This is a long tangent, right? Just now I'm realizing, like, the whole separation between the Clone Wars and then what happened with Order 66 and then the original trilogy is very, very similar to the Horus Heresy Warhammer 40k. It is very similar. Different, like, but very similar. Like, I just realized, if anyone's read the Horus Heresy novels or knows anything about 40k, I'm a bit late to the party on the connection. But yeah, anyway. Can I just get one more tangent?
Go on a tangent. I'll read my notes.
I just finished I think I'm on to the third Horus Heresy novel now. I just finished False Gods. Now I'm on to Galaxy in Flames. It's so good, man. Yeah. It demonstrates that you can be the most virtuous, like, everyone could think you're the greatest, right? But having pride in you as a character flaw is one of the most dangerous things. Because pride defeats all reason. Anyway, that's it.
Yeah. So stuff happens that Mando and Ahsoka keep talking. She eventually just comes up front with him and says, okay, this is how it is, and then he leaves. But dude, it was so heartbreaking for me to see Grogu, who can obviously sense Mando, and then watch the ship fly away.
Yeah. That would have made it worse. If he'd, like, no, he was right here.
Yeah, and now he's not. Like, I think they should have seen him.
Yeah.
I think you should have seen him in that instance.
Yep.
And then be like, Mando, you have to come less frequently because you're being too much of a distraction to him. Like, it's one thing to be a distraction, and it's one thing to never see someone again.
Yeah. Why doesn't... Man, I mean, like, I know this isn't the story they're making, right?
Yeah.
But why doesn't bloody Spaceman just stay there with him? You know, he could learn how to fight bloody Jedi like Jedis too.
Again, I think Mando should just...
Train him in both ways, both the Mandalore and the ways of the Jedi.
And I think Mando should learn the ways of the Force too. Because I think
Well-
he's lost... No, because he's lost his culture now. He's been excommunicated.
True.
And so he's trying to find a new religion. And I think at least Luke, who is a master, will have some wisdom to give Mando. Doesn't need to be like a Jedi or whatever, but I think Mando is definitely lost right now. And it would have been nice to have kind of a bit of that scene with him, because obviously he's like, guns are my religion, and it's all his sort of thing. And I think, when someone's lost their way, they want to try and find something to grab onto. I think that would have been a cool element to have as well.
That does work. It would have shown Luke in a better light, and more of not just a teacher to children, but someone who can teach someone who's gone through a bit of a crisis of faith.
Yeah.
And also, he could have just been like, hey, Ahsoka, can you teach me to use this thing?
Yeah.
Lightsaber. He's got the dark blade.
Yeah.
Not that I know much about that thing. It seemed important, but he was right there. Maybe they'll put that into Mandalorian Season 3. Who knows?
Yeah, I reckon they will. I reckon they'll have to revisit the Academy together.
Yeah.
I think that's just something that has to happen.
Yeah. There's no way he's going to learn the Force, though. He's too old to complete the training. Way too old. He can't do the Force.
But in the video game, you're like a young adult, and you become a Padawan at a young adult.
That's a good point.
But you know what? Okay, that's legacy though. That's legacy of Star Wars. Makes sense though when you have, like the Mandalorians, if you need people to join your religion, all are welcome.
Well, it's best to get them young so you can indoctrinate them.
Yeah, but I'm saying, if you're trying to rebuild the Jedi Academy, get some force-wielding people who may be a bit older, but that's fine.
Yeah.
You need people to do the work.
Yeah. Well, they have droids now, don't they?
Yeah. And then, so Luke and Grogu do more training.
Yep.
His little jump was adorable. His
Yeah,
first little...
I wrote that too. Grogu jump is cute.
And I was like, this episode so far is for all the girlfriends watching with their boyfriends and needed a reason to watch the show.
Yeah, and need a reason. And Disney's like, okay, boyfriends, have kids with your girlfriend. Which is always a good message.
Well, that's the thing though. There's girls that I know weren't interested in Star Wars at all, but once Grogu showed up, they've watched like the prequels and the original trilogy. No Grogu in it, but they've started to love Star Wars because of Grogu.
Yep.
So I appreciate that.
Is that what happened with the wife?
No.
Okay.
She still doesn't like Star Wars.
Aw.
We've watched...
What does she like? Pokemon?
Yeah.
Okay.
Loves Pokemon. But we watched original trilogy, prequels. Prequels are her favourite.
Mm-hmm.
But again, they're still a bit slow and kind of outdated now. I just wanted to make sure, so we watched the sequels as well, but neither of us could bear it. We watched Mandalorian, but again, the world for her isn't... She hasn't found that thing that just makes her a fanatic about it.
Fair enough. For me, it was the laser swords and droids, and hoping that I would get to see in my lifetime Jar Jar get killed. That's what I was hoping for.
But didn't you know he was the great Sith all along?
It was. It's all connected to Jar Jar, people. Okay.
It's all Jar Jar.
He's a demon, people.
But then Luke is like, really? That's all you got?
What do you mean?
Where's the little jump?
Oh,
Luke's like,
yeah.
That's all you got? Like, this episode, when he says that, it felt very fake, the way he said it, and unmotivated, and mean, which proves to me that speech AI needs more work.
Yeah.
For sure. Also, Luke is a caring master, and I've never heard a master say to the Padawan something so discouraging.
Yeah. I saw this video once of, there was this, it was like a karate instructor, a taekwondo instructor, and it was like this, there was this black guy who's like the master. There's a real video on Facebook, right?
Yeah.
And there was like, he was probably like 5 or 6. He was going there practicing like punching a board, and he couldn't get it a few times, right? It's like, keep trying, breaks it, and then it hurts, and he does break it, but he starts crying. And then, instead of like doing anything like, oh, that's the best you got, he gets down on his knees like, man, it's okay to cry sometimes, you get hurt. And it's like, that's a good master. Yeah. Luke, what the hell are you doing? And then, dude, again, the ultimatum at the end pisses me off. Anyway.
Well then, okay, Grogu keeps trying, and then Luke's like, you're trying too hard. But, you know why...
That's cringe.
You know why they say it, though?
Why?
Because they want Luke to say this. Don't try. Do.
Oh, yeah.
And
well,
so,
actually,
okay.
I'm going to correct your quote there. do or do not. There is no try.
Yeah, but they're trying to incorporate that same mentality that Yoda shared him.
Well, then he should be saying, my old master once said this to me.
Yeah, do or do not, there is no try.
And then he should try and impersonate the voice.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, so sure, I see why they want to add that whole do or do not, there is no try to reference back to Yoda, but it almost feels like Luke and Ahsoka, again, have multiple personality disorders, where they're caring and understanding, and then they're like cold and off-putting and kind of really, what's the word I use, condescending?
You know what that's a sign of? That's a sign of narcissistic personality disorder, which is common in single parents.
But we see it in more than one actor or like character in the show. We see it as well with Boba and Fennec.
Yeah.
They always keep switching personalities.
That's true. Yeah, but in terms of Luke, his technique, like training, like sure he's doing similar things to what Yoda taught him, but still, like, this is basically a young kid. You've got to be compassionate. You know, you've got to be forgiving.
Yeah.
Yeah. So otherwise, you're going to stunt the kid.
Like, okay, if there's training methods where you have to be harsh with them because they're, for example, training for a harsh environment.
Yeah.
For example, like drills in the army, I think makes sense because guess what? You're not going to have anyone holding your hand when you're in the middle of the battlefield.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. You do that when you're 18 years old. You've had your whole life to mature. This is a kid. He still has to get the nurturing aspect
of, you know, what's
life.
Good. Yeah. I totally agree. But what I'm saying is, in this instance, it's not very... even if it was a grown man, okay, and he did a jump, but he failed, the worst thing to do would be like, "You're useless, Sergeant!" and like, you know, going on about...
I disagree. The reason they do that is because the enemy ain't going to be caring.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not a training drill for that right now for Grogu. So I'm saying, what I'm trying to say is that there are times in a training, for example, for a Jedi, where I think that is understandable. It makes sense to have, you know, certain battlefield training or whatever, where that type of communication is necessary. But in this instance, it is completely uncalled for and just is unaffectionate and doesn't make sense. You're trying to help him get through to the Force. The last thing that you're going to do, yelling at him or like being discouraging to him, is make him discouraged.
That's true. That'll feel the darker...
They'll feel the
dark
darkness,
side, yeah. But also, you could have done better ways to motivate him. You know? What if you held up a frog, like, jump and catch this frog and it's yours?
Dude, he uses the Force all the time with food and little metal balls. Yeah. And again, like, Luke should... it just frustrates me because I feel like although Ahsoka's shown up for some reason to see Luke, she hasn't been telling him much about the issues of the Jedi because he's making the same mistakes that they did.
Yeah.
With, you know, so many Jedi stories are always about Padawans feeling like their masters either don't care, degrade them, or hold them back. Like, those are the things that always happen in, like, a turning story. And right now, Luke, although he's trying to be a good teacher, which we see, okay, I do appreciate, later, down in the scene, he talks to Ahsoka, and he's just like, I don't know what I'm doing, or I do with them. I felt that. I was like, oh, this guy has the whole Jedi future on his shoulders. Like, he's holding that religion down.
And he only received, what, like, a day's training from Obi-Wan and then, like, a week's training from...
I think it was longer with Yoda. Like, you don't actually know the time frames, but either way, it's been probably under a year of actual physical training with any
versus every other Jedi before him having their entire life. It's a
entire life, just library of masters, where he has got, like, 6 ancient textbooks with they're out of date anyways.
Centuries of information.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
but the thing with this whole scene, or just Luke in general, that his tone doesn't change.
Yeah, he doesn't... Yeah,
he's always just... He's like, it's very subtle, but, like, there's parts in the original trilogy where he is very emotive.
Yeah. In fact, he ended up... Based on the fact that his emotions didn't change, it's kept the same simmering thing.
Yeah.
And then when the Mandalorian came in and gave him the gift and all that, he seems to become psychopathic.
Yeah.
In the sense that he's like aggressive, but he's clearly holding it at...
Yeah, passive-aggressive.
Yeah, it's so strange. And
I think...
It freaked me out. Like, is he going to get a reservation at Dorsia now? You know? Like, what's going to happen?
I think they should have just put in a voice actor for Luke.
I think they should just go on Sebastian Stan. Or there's, like, I just don't think that they should be fixing this with digital stuff.
Yeah, especially the voice.
Yeah.
Machines aren't ready for it. Sure, fund the technology to improve it, but right now, get a voice actor, at least, bare minimum is what I'm saying, get a voice actor who sounds like Luke to do those lines, to make him more emotive, because right now, like, But then it's weird because he's like, this is a training remote. I write down saying that like that had a believable voice performance and the facial expressions are really good because he was like, this, like Grogu is this and that. But then other times he's just like, you need to feel the Force, Grogu. You're not even trying, Grogu. Don't do. Try. Try, don't do. Like, it's very hit or miss, and there's some parts where I'm like, okay, you just do screen tests before stuff like this. And you can see, okay, that's not working, or this part does work, so we'll do this instead. Obviously, I reckon they're just pressured for time.
Yeah.
I reckon Disney's just like, we need another Star Wars thing for our little schedule bit here. Can you get Mando out by then?
Well, that's the thing. Since it's corporate controlled, they're making corrections and rushing and all this.
Yeah, and they're probably saying, hey, we get more engagement when Luke's on screen, so make sure you have more Luke on screen.
They certainly get a massive jump in toy sales whenever Grogu's on screen.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I kind of want one too. Yeah. My mate Petrus.
Yeah.
For Christmas, he got 2 of those from 2 different people. 2 Grogus.
For Christmas, I got Grogu.
Why am I the only one that didn't get a Grogu?
I got 2 Grogus too. I got a bobblehead Grogu from my wife. My parents gave me like the basically a doll.
Oh, okay.
Doll, when you squeeze it, it goes. And so sometimes at night I'll grab it and then make scary noises in the hallway, and my wife gets scared. And then I like poke the head out the side of the door. It's like fun times. You have fun.
Yeah,
Have fun.
You got to tease your wife.
You do. Okay.
Oh yeah, when she says so much like your father, you up to that?
There's the training scene before that.
Yep.
When Grogu's jumping around, it felt very Thunderbirds for me. With the puppets, you know, Thunderbirds ago.
Yeah.
The way Grogu was jumping from rock to rock, it felt very.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, puppetry. Yeah. Whoop, we're going hit. Whoop, we're going hit. And so I felt like they could have. This is when I think CGI would have been a bit better. You have a masterful animator who understands motion and speed and weight. And you give them a rig of Grogu, and then they make him jump around. There's parts of it where it's CG, but you can tell a lot of it, they're at least basing the animations off of the way that the puppet moves, which I think is very fake.
To play devil's advocate, but also kind of on your side too. Like, Yoda was an old fella, and when he was jumping around, it was CG, and it looked very fluid and semi-realistic, but more fluid, right?
Yeah, it looked like he was using the Force.
Yeah, exactly. He's 900, he's been training his whole bloody life. It makes sense for Grogu's to look a bit awkward and strange.
Yeah.
But I do agree.
There's just parts with the ways that, like...
He jumps and lands.
He moves.
Yeah.
There's just... His whole body... There's no, like, knee bend. It's just his whole body goes... like a puppet, like an empty puppet.
Yeah, fair enough.
And then... There's the whole, like your father, where Luke is just like, sometimes I wonder where his heart is. And then Ahsoka's like, so much like your father. And I'm like, okay, that is a fan service thing that I do not like. How does that comment make Ahsoka bring up Anakin?
Yeah, exactly. It's a non sequitur. You know what non sequitur means? It means when you say something that isn't connected to the subject.
Yeah. Also, what is Ahsoka even doing there? Like, she was on another mission before, trying to find the blue general guy from the Empire.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I forget his name. But
different blue guy to the one we saw at the end of this episode?
Yeah, different blue guy.
Okay.
This blue guy worked for the Empire.
Okay.
It was really scary.
Okay.
I forgot his name, though. I'm sorry. If it's not Luke or, like, the original cast of the show, I'm not very good with names.
The blue guy who... Yeah, Admiral Thrawn.
Yeah, Admiral Thrawn, yeah. She was looking for him.
Is he cool? Is he a cool, good character? Have you seen anything about him?
He's very... Because he was in the Legacy series of Star Wars.
Yeah.
People respect him. He's a villain.
Okay, he's a good villain, though?
Like, good villain as in, like, morally, or like as
he's an interesting villain to watch. Okay.
Yes, people enjoy him a lot.
Okay.
So she, like, basically just stops her desperate mission to go check in on Luke and see how Grogu's doing.
Why would she even be after that dude? What? Empire's gone, or whatever.
Stuff with Mandalorian stuff, I think, and a whole bunch of other things that lead into Rebels, and Filoni knows what he's doing there, but we don't as much, because I haven't watched it yet. I'm sorry. There's probably people who are like, no, he does this and this and that. I'm sorry, okay? I have a job, and I had to go to work, and I learned some of this stuff, but I don't have enough time to learn it all.
It took him like 2 months to watch Arcane.
Yeah. But now we watch it.
We got to do a review on that, man.
Yeah, we do. People are watching this, and they're still commenting, like, when are Arcane reviews coming? They'll come. Yeah.
And here's why they haven't come yet. Well, partially because we kind of forgot. Also, Shad said that he really wanted a model of Vander holding Vine, Powder leaving the battle at the beginning of the first episode.
Yeah.
I'm in contacts with a 3D modeler who does great work. I mentioned him in my 3D... you know the video that has the really horrific thumbnail?
Oh, the really ugly one? People obviously scroll by because they're just haunted?
The one that lost us 100 subscribers. In that video, I show off a 3D modeler who's going to do it. He released a bunch of Halo models for free. Printing. Anyway, so yeah, I'm going to get that made. And then we'll probably do it.
We'll have it as the centerpiece.
Yeah, and also we're going to give away the STL for free, even though it's going to cost me probably in the realms of like maybe $500 to get this done. The modeler's great though; it's worth it. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
If you're watching this, because he said he was a subscriber, I'm not going over 600. Anyway.
Anyways, so Ahsoka leaves, leaving poor Luke with the burden. And I kind of want to see a legit series of Luke dealing with the struggle of starting the Jedi Academy.
Yeah, but I want it to be done with Sebastian Stan, with an actual actor, not a CG puppet.
I want it to be as close to the game as possible, where he meets what's-his-face, and they start the Academy together, and they build up the Padawans and stuff.
Is it a popular Star Wars game, Jedi Academy? Like, is it like if it came out, they'll make it a new one, would people lose their minds?
I would.
You would?
Yeah.
Okay, well that's enough for me. Yeah, okay, I want to see that then.
Like, it had, again, if you can, there's many PC games I did not own, because I had an Xbox, my PC sucked.
Yeah. PC games don't really run that well on Xbox.
No, and also they didn't run well on my old HP family desktop computer, which, I remember, the original Spider-Man PC game?
Yeah.
That would run like absolute crap on it.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
That's how bad. It didn't have a GPU, man. It was all like, it was an Intel Core Premium whatever back in the day. But I remember in the book fair they had the CD video game for Jedi Academy.
Yeah.
Bought it in a heartbeat.
Nice.
Begged mum and I was like, please, and so I still have it on disc. Bought it on Steam as well. Like, I love that game.
Is it multiplayer?
There is multiplayer in it too.
Let's give it a go then.
It's like a Quake multiplayer though. It was back in the day because it's made on the
Arena.
Quake. Yeah, but it's with Jedis.
Yeah, that sounds cool then.
Halo's
an arena shooter.
Yeah. It's older. It's Quake, but like the story is also just so good because you have side missions where you go off and do certain things. There's also just levels that I make a whole video on this game actually and why they should just remake it. There's a whole level where your ship crashes on a planet, and you have to get the parts to fix your ship. But it's a desert planet, and there's a worm. And whenever you walk on the sand, the worm comes and goes like...
Yeah, getcha.
Before any of, other worm stuff happened in Star Wars, and before the Dune movie...
Not before the Dune books, though.
No, not before the Dune books. And there's... you have this great companion, companion who's also a Padawan that you meet when you go to the Academy. And spoiler alert, he turns to the dark side.
Oh.
And then you have to try to convince him to come back. And there's this whole cult of Sith, and it's so good. I want that to be made into a show or remaster the game, because there's this whole thing with these Sith. They're not actual Sith, but they're like, I forgot what they call them.
Grey Jedi.
Like Inquisitors are best case, basically. Okay. And what they're doing in the galaxy is they're going to all the dark force areas and getting that force from that, like sucking it out, and then they go to reincarnate an ancient Sith Lord.
Oh.
And so the last battle is like you fighting this ancient Sith ghost Jedi.
That's creepy, man.
Yeah, it's creepy, but it's so cool. The last level, you're going through this like Sith temple, fighting all these different Sith Inquisitors, and the final fight's with this ghost Jedi who's like halfway in reality, halfway in the Force reality, and you're like trying to make sure he doesn't go through. Good game. And there's like awesome levels where you're on a speeder, you just got to go around and shoot bandits, and
that does sound pretty sick.
It's such a good game.
And you want to see the TV show of that?
I want to see a TV show of that or remaster the game, because like that is what... Because back then, okay, as fans, all we had was the prequels and original trilogy.
Yeah.
And this was kind of what I would expect the sequel trilogy to be. Is young Luke going out to do awesome stuff. With great characters, you're a young Jedi building up the Academy. Fantastic. And so that's why I was so disappointed in the sequels, because... There's no, Luke in his dark robes standing out in the temple saying, you're all Padawans and I'm going to all make you be great masters, and here are your masters who you're going to train with, and you go off and you help the galaxy. Nah.
Instead we got They Fly Now, somehow Palpatine returned. Damn, 2 out of 3 for that guy.
There's none of...
Who's the third? Give me a third one. What was the third awful line?
what does Han say to Chewie? I like this one. Or like when he has the bow gun.
Oh, I can't remember, but I know he says something like that.
Yeah. Oh, that's not how the Force works.
No, that was a good line though. I like that.
But that's how the Force works.
Would you choose the Force? Oh no, that is a good point. That is how the Force works. Huh?
Because they found her.
Yeah.
Anyways, for a believer, Han's not very good at.
Well, to be fair, he's a convert. I empathise.
Okay, fair enough.
No, seriously, man, I empathise.
I get that.
No, dude.
I laugh at it because it's true.
I'm just breaking your knuckles. I'm not gonna say.
Okay, going back, that was a great tangent, man. If you want a video on why the old Star Wars games were brilliant, I will gladly do that series.
Yeah, if you want us to nerd out
about Star Wars, I'll do Old Republic. Those are also great games. Yeah, just good Star Wars.
I had an idea for a series.
What?
What if we do Fandom Salesman, right? We do a short video pitch where we try to sell. And it could be, you know how I got my live reviews where I'm just standing in front of a green screen. We try to sell each other on why different fandoms are cool, why we're into them. You know, just a quick, as a salesman, because that incorporates things as like, one, being a salesman. Two, you have to be a bit of a miniature storyteller.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Would you guys be into that? Salesman.
Short form videos about trying to
Fandom
convince
pitch.
you why you should get into something.
Yeah.
And that's good though, because you can show it to friends who are like, I don't watch Harry Potter. You can be like, here are all the amazing reasons why.
Yep. And no spoilers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But you just, I like that idea.
Nice.
It's a good idea. Okay.
That was a massive tangent.
That was such a big tangent. These videos are getting so long.
I hope you guys are enjoying it.
Yeah, because we are. So halfway through the episode, and we're heading back to the desert planet. That way! Woo!
Is there a back to tank down there? I don't know, that's stupid. But yeah, back to the desert planet and back to tank maybe.
Yeah. So I guess Boba doesn't do appointments anymore because the pig didn't know Mando was showing up.
Yeah, the garage door was open though.
Yeah, and I'm like, come on guys, communication's key. Fennec should have been like, hey, by the way, the Mando's coming.
Maybe they did. We just didn't see it. Maybe he did have an appointment.
But the pig was just like... and then he's like, Fennec sent me.
Oh, okay.
And then the pig's like, oh, I guess so.
I should try that when I'm trying to get into a government building. The Prime Minister sent me.
Isn't there a Family Guy episode of that where like they drove to the White House?
I don't know.
And then he's like, they sent me an invite, like I live there. And the cab driver's like, no you don't, I don't believe you. And he's like, yeah, no, totally, just because he's outside the car, I was like, yeah, you can just drive off now. It's like, it's all good. He goes, no, I want to see you go in. And then he has to go up and talks to the security guard. And then he like, they do the whole like Family Guy bit where he goes into the White House and he's like waving. It's either that or it's the Queen. It's one of those two like bigger building things where Peter's just trying to like, you know when you lie a little bit and then you get caught in the lie, and so you're trying to make the lie.
Yeah.
It's
lie some more. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like that.
So back to the desert planet. Yeah.
Okay.
The Jawas with with the Dune Dragon skull adorning their trawler was actually pretty epic.
Pretty badass.
That's Warhammer 40k right there. Except instead of little fairy Jawas, it's massive, 10-foot tall greenskins.
Yeah.
And that trawler is like just got skulls all over it. Anyway.
But just before that, so Mando goes into the hut castle, I guess, the palace.
Jabba's palace, yeah.
And they're having a whole big discussion meeting with the mods and stuff. Why is Mando the only muscle? Like, there are other muscle, and so Fennec's like, I'll get you more muscle. He's the only muscle they've gotten.
Yeah.
And he's free!
And
he's free!
And his suggestion to get more muscle. Okay, like there seems to be.
Here's the thing. Okay, can I just say?
You go.
Opening part of this show, brilliant, great.
Yep.
Middle part, okay, unrelated, but it's still a good piece of content. I enjoyed my time watching it.
Yeah.
As soon as Boba and Fennec and the mods and all this other stuff shows up, all logic out the window.
Yep. And it infects Mando.
Yeah.
Right? But so Fennec's like, oh sure, we're both bounty hunters, been doing this our entire lives, but don't worry, I know some muscle. Calls one dude, or just manages to find him.
Yeah,
right?
Conveniently, he's landed on the planet.
Yeah, and then and he's like, don't worry, I know a guy. I'm gonna go
to a small country town.
Conscript some villagers. Dude, that is the most Union soldier thing you could possibly do. Like, that is some Vietnam conscription right there.
My all caps comments were, okay, wait. Also, Mando's in the muscle you got. He was free as well. Why don't you hire more? And then I'm like, why is it once Boba and Fennec show up, the logic of the show goes out the window?
Yep.
And a Wookiee named Chris and Mando is enough for your enforcers.
Hey, Chris. Oh, Chris Stanton.
Are you kidding me? You got two guys that goes, okay, Mando and the Wookiee, they can be enforcers, okay? Let me just tell you, modern enforcers, in these times that we've seen in the world, you need more than 2 enforcers, okay? Just for the general public.
Oh, yeah. Especially if you're a cartel.
Let alone for Star Wars crime lords. Like, you might need more than just a Wookiee Mandalorian.
They're assembling an army. Doesn't matter how good your 2 soldiers are.
You need numbers.
Like, look at how good the US was in the past, I don't know, 5 or 6 conflicts they were in. They got outnumbered. They're in, you know, hostile terror. Well, that's a good point, actually, right? Let me play devil's advocate for a bit.
Okay.
If you get, like, because the Pike Syndicate, they're coming down to try and take over this planet, right? Now, if you know anything about the IRA or the brave Mujahideen fighters in Afghanistan who became Taliban, you can't like control population that does not want to be controlled and is willing to do anything to get rid of you. Asymmetrical warfare is impossible to defend against because your defense against it is entirely reactionary. You can't have a soldier in every single home in every single room.
Yeah.
You know, people will find a way to meet up, build, you know, networks of insurgency, and will find ways to get rid of you. They'll make it incredibly difficult. So, going to the people in the village does kind of make sense.
That does make sense.
Should be going to more people in Mos Espa.
Yeah.
Should be going all over the place.
Yeah.
Like,
you should
hey
be
guys.
going to Mos Eisley too and being like, hey, I know you guys are all scum and villainy, but
we can use some of that.
Syndicate is going to take over. So if you want to keep your ways, these guys are going to come in and take everything you know and love.
Yeah.
Help us win this war.
Because the Taliban and all that beat 2 of the biggest superpowers in human history. They beat the Soviet Union and they beat the American military. Right. The IRA beat the British Army and the British Intelligence Service. Right, and they were just ground roots, underground people. So if things would get really bad in terms of totalitarianism, asymmetrical warfare is impossible to defend against.
Yeah. Also, the mods' wardrobes look like something from Amazon Prime Video.
Call them what they are. They're the hipsters.
They're the hipsters. Okay. But they look so Amazon.
They look like they belong in, like
Cyberpunk.
Destiny 2 cutscenes.
No, but even then, I feel like that's undergrading Destiny.
I mean, as civilians.
Yeah,
in Destiny,
but I feel like Destiny, if you want to relate to that, or even Cyberpunk, have way better wardrobes than these mods do. It looks like they just went into the wardrobe in the back and they put some things on and they're like, alright, you're good to go. And it looks so jarring and fake and it just looks like cosplay. Yeah. Really bad cosplay.
Yeah, it looks like cosplay that isn't tied to any property.
Yeah. It looks like what your mum thought Star Wars was when they dressed up for Halloween. Like, that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for the actors, because boy, if that was me, I would be so ashamed.
Yeah, I'd throw some dirt on myself.
Yeah.
You know? Like, that's what Henry Cavill did for Witcher. The costume and makeup department hated him because he's like, he'd go into makeup and costume department is like, this isn't enough dirt. And so he'd just go outside and roll in the dirt.
Yeah.
You know? And there you go.
Roll in
some sand.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but yeah, okay, then we get to the Jawas with the worm head. It's a great callback to an earlier season of a different show, I think.
No, same show. Oh yeah, Mandalorian. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, I think it's a different show.
Mandalorians from 2 years ago.
Yeah. We see, it's good to see it because it doesn't take away too much time from the show. It's just like a little sprinkle.
Yeah.
And it makes it feel like the events of the previous show have an effect and course on what's happening in the future.
I was expecting him to go to the Jawas and be like, hey, do you want to fight? Which would have been very useful because they can steal from Pikes. Instead of taking out a part, maybe they could put a little explosive part on. Get the Jawas on board.
I mean, even then, if they just steal the Pike's stuff, the Pikes are going to be
sabotage.
Selfless. Like
sabotage is a big important part of asymmetrical warfare.
Yeah,
probably the most important part.
Get the Jawas. You can even just be like, "Hey, Jawas, need some parts," and they'll be like, "Oh, okay." everything from the Pikes, take it.
Well, that's the thing, right? If you're just like, okay, we'll provide you with supportive logistics and weapons and explosives, just go mess with them, take whatever you want from them, we will help you.
There's always so many Jawas.
Yeah.
Like, if they... Because there's more than one, like, Jawa tribe, right? It's
Yeah,
not just
yeah.
the one Jawa with the big... like,
It's not just the one trawler.
No.
If it was, that's a pretty epic trawler.
yeah.
It's the
With
one
part of
who-
me thinking, like, is it just the one trawler that goes around Tatooine?
No.
Like, if there's enough of them, they would make an insane army.
You don't. Well, that's the thing. You don't even need enough of them. You just need the right amount that can get in and do stuff.
Yeah.
And they seem to be able to do that
Yeah.
right under their noses.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
if they were organized in the crime syndicate kind of form of things and you wanted to get the Pikes, man, you'd be screwed. The Jawas,
Yeah.
they are cheeky little buggers.
And they have a mobile base of operations. Right?
Yeah.
Could you imagine the Pikes are like, oh, let's go get rid of these pesky Jawas. They rock up with this massive thing with a bloody dragon helmet on it. Like,
Those
what?
poor Pikes are going to be like...
Yeah, I know, right? Like, look at what the Ewoks did to the Empire. Dude, these little Jawas,
Yes.
they're very little short people too. They're deadly.
What we need, okay, is Return of the Jedi, but on Tatooine with Jawas and Boba Fett.
Yep.
That's what we should deserve.
It's like, what do you call it, on Endor?
Yeah.
That's basically Vietnam. This will be Afghanistan,
Yeah.
okay? Like, I'm picturing Jawas burying IEDs, you know? Like, oh, man. And with the Sand People helping, this could have been epic. This could have perfectly recreated the conflict in the Middle East in Star Wars. And that
And it would have
alright.
been awesome because it was with aliens and it would have given them depth
Yep,
in a way that wasn't degrading or untrue to their characters.
yep. I'm picturing, like, whatever happens with the Pike Syndicate, they, like, report back to their leader, and the leader's like, oh, what? Just evacuate the planet. Leave them all their devices. You know,
Yeah.
Joe Biden. Whatever.
Yeah, but okay, I do like how because at first I was like, oh, that's just fan service for the worm on the head,
Yeah.
but it actually connects to the town that he's going to.
True,
I was like,
true.
oh, okay, so now we know what location we're at because
Yeah.
the worm was destroyed.
Because they're
nearby.
lingering around there.
Yeah, so that makes sense.
Man, those Jawas. I can't get over that.
I love Jawas, and I actually did love Mandalorian's interactions with them.
Yeah.
Like when he had to fight them, and he full just disintegrates
Full
a
on
few of them.
nuking 'em, man.
Like he grabs one out and just like great.
He would have been fine. He's small enough that he probably
Oh
would have
no! Did you not see him fall on the ground?
If
He broke his neck or something.
Really? Okay. But if Mando survived a fall from that far, covered head to toe in metal, and he's a big guy, I feel like think about a cat falling.
If they're furry, I guess.
Yeah. And they're little.
But
Not
still,
much body weight.
I love Jawas. I want to see more of them in combat and stuff because they're really fun to watch. Like in the previous episode where they were talking with Mando and what's her face.
Yep.
And the guy asked her out.
If they can successfully steal from and, what do you call it, knock out a Mandalorian,
Yeah.
there's no doubt in my mind they could
can't stop.
take down.
I mean, it is their industry.
Yeah, is stealing from people, being sneaky and selling it. Dude, yeah, just tell the Jawas, we will let you take any of their stuff, and you'll have support from
We will
us.
help you.
Yeah, and that's going to build tighter community knits with the Jawas.
Yeah, and you get send people in going, hey, you want some tech? You can have the tech that we're stealing from the Pikes.
Yeah.
Working together. Like, we could have had a whole new era of Tatooine.
Exactly. If the Sand People were involved, it would have been much better as well.
Yeah, because then the original episodes that we saw in the series would have actually had effect, unlike now
Yeah.
where it's like they're all dead and
that could have been
No
the
void.
change that we wanted to see. The change for Tatooine, instead
Yeah.
of having all these different tribes all kind of living off each other in, immoral ways,
Yeah.
it could have had common enemy,
Yeah.
come together, positive change.
And then they could have actually started to work together to say, okay, what is Tatooine? What do we all want from
Yeah.
Tatooine? And it could have been the rehealing of Tatooine.
Exactly, because that would show them they're not just scum and villainy.
Yeah.
They don't need to steal and kill each other to get to live.
Yeah.
They can
It could
kill
have
and
been,
steal the bad guys coming in and taking their
and
stuff.
it would have been an amazing arc for the planet.
Yep,
I
because
think.
it's true.
Yeah.
Like, look at World War 1 and 2. Well, maybe not World War 1, but World War 2.
Two.
Look at World War 3 we're about to have. You know?
You're going to have lots of learning experiences then.
I still haven't chosen my side for that one. But yeah, so I feel like it would have given it real stakes and real meaning. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, we've come up with this idea ourselves with the elements we've seen in the show, and
Yep.
it makes me sad that the writers probably just didn't... I reckon they were too excluded. I reckon the writers' room's too... Like, it's good to have a certain direction,
Yeah.
and they do with MCU a lot with, multiverse or whatever.
Yeah.
But I feel like when you actually want to have interesting ideas,
You need more people.
you need a bigger brainstorm.
Yeah, it's almost like the writer's room's almost like a vacuum.
Yeah.
You know, with how little is getting in through there.
Yeah.
But yeah, and you know, all that stuff that we just talked about, it could have been as simple setting that up as literally just montages of, you know, Fennec, Boba, what do you call it?
Wookiee,
Mando.
mods.
All just going out and like having literally just a panning shot of them talking with them.
Yeah.
With music playing, and then you're done.
Yeah.
And that explains why they're all coming together.
It never happens in the
Never
show.
happens.
It's always one person goes up and does one thing. They're never all
And they drag it out.
Yeah. It's always Boba has to go to the casino to talk to someone about something or another.
Yeah.
The mods go and they're scouting and doing whatever. Like it's never. It feels like a planned event. They're never out doing something all together.
Yeah.
As a group setting, it's
And they're-
always you're following this one person to do this one thing.
Yeah, and then exactly they're not being economic with the time they have in the episodes, and they're not being smart about potential solutions and things that might be interesting. It's just ridiculous and sad that they haven't.
Yeah, but Mando shows up to this Freetown. It's called now.
Freetown.
Freetown.
I like the sound of that.
And he meets the deputy, which is a good setup
Yeah.
to what happens later down the track.
Yeah, Deputy's a bit of a hothead.
Yeah.
When you say down the track, you mean immediately when he leaves.
Yeah, basically. But I love that. That's just a stereotype cliche of the deputy. You know, he's been too hot-headed. He's a new guy. He's more on edge. Where the marshal is more controlled, more experienced.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. And then the marshal, you know, when they go and have a drink, he's like, "Why should we risk our lives for this Boba Fett?" I feel like, again, in this world, people don't know who Boba Fett is when they really should.
Yeah.
But it does make sense. I think there should be more gravity to who Boba is, but still keeping in line with the why should we risk our lives for him.
I wrote down when you said it was a city folk fight.
Yeah.
In human history, city folk fights always spread to the country, and the results are always worse for the people in rural areas.
Yeah.
Always. So, yeah, if you see that there's a fight in the cities, it's going to be coming to your door if you're in a rural area, and you should pick a side.
Yeah. Also, but at the same time, having lived both in country and city, that separation is very much there. And even though it's not very smart for them, I think you're more switched on than most people would be.
Oh, thanks.
But if they saw, you know, fights happening in the city, they'd be like, "Oh, at least I'm safe in the country." Like
They're not.
I know they're not, but I think it makes perfect sense for country folk to be like, "Poor city folk doing their fighting deal. I'm not going to get involved in that."
It's short-sighted to think that it won't come out, because social change always starts in the cities and goes outwards.
Yeah.
It's happened in the Soviet Union, happened in the Spanish Civil War. Because the cities are like the neurons, right? And it just spreads out from there.
Yeah. So I agree with you. I just think it makes sense for a country person, the bar guy, who's probably enjoyed
mentality's right.
Yeah, like enjoyed his peace.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't want to get involved in the war.
You got to, man. It's like the Pikes wouldn't let one town, let alone one man, stand in their way.
Yeah.
Because even if they're just like, "Oh, fine, go around them," no, they wouldn't.
Yeah.
That's a symbol of defiance.
Yeah,
Destroy.
they'd go through and stop you. But okay, and then Mando basically leaves, feeling a bit defeated.
Then Cad Bane.
Yep.
Tell me about Bane, right? Why does he wear that mask? You know, thing.
Yeah, I don't actually know. I think there's lore about it, but maybe we can Google it. But I love the Western feel of this.
Yeah.
Like, so good. Just him walking in the distance, the marshal being like, "Hey, get everyone inside."
Yeah.
And then the deputy's stepping out, and him being like, "Get back inside." And the deputy's been like, "No, I'm going to help you." And he's like, "Oh, you're so bloody annoying." Every Western movie ever, probably.
They missed an opportunity to have
a head veil, or what are they called?
Tumbleweed.
Tumbleweed. Yeah.
Do you know something?
What?
When I was in, I would have been like maybe 8 or 9. I did indoor soccer, and I kept falling over so much. You know what they called me?
Tumbleweed.
Tumbleweed.
I've
I've had a lot of nicknames.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah.
You have.
Most recent one is, "Hey, fat guy." Fat bastard.
But yeah, the Western feel is just something I always wanted to have in the show, but I feel like we never get enough of it. Every time I like, especially this feel, I'm like, "Oh, give me more, give me more."
They should commit more to it.
But they should just do a fully fledged. Like, I would happily see a fully fledged 20-episode season with the Marshal and Freetown just doing stuff.
But they need to have good writers and a good director.
Yeah.
Because that's where you know, westerns are. Like, if you want a good western, you do those two things. Because otherwise it's just boring desert setting, right?
Yeah.
But that's a movie you should watch, by the way. The best western movie ever made is probably The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Yeah. No, I've seen it.
You have seen it?
Yeah.
Like with the
dad
showdown at the end?
Loves westerns.
Yeah.
That's all he watches.
So you saw the showdown in the graveyard at the end?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
I want to watch it again, but yeah, I've definitely been sat down and said, watch this.
Yeah.
This is good media, son.
Yeah, because here's the thing. That whole movie, every part of it and all the characters in it leads up to the final confrontation in a perfect... Oh, man. Great movie. Anyway, I want a Star Wars Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Yeah. That would be brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Anyway, the scene, I love it because of the tension and the build-up.
I knew it was going to happen.
I know, and although it's kind of dumb that Boba is like, hey, Mando, find me some muscle. And Mando's like,
There's a village nearby?
There's a village. We killed a giant worm with the sand people. I might go pay them a visit. Although I think it's pretty dumb.
You should just have Boba going around and talking with sand people.
Yeah.
Because he knows how to do it now.
Yeah. And even Mando.
Yeah.
Mando had relationships with sand people.
He did. Well, hopefully, because I don't feel like it's less coming from Mando, because, but if it's Boba,
oh yeah, Boba
who has
it's
the
like,
stick.
Yeah, that's. But I'm still saying that they can both communicate with sand people. It'd be cool for both of them to go to the camps and be like, and then being like, but yeah, having Cad Bane show up and give his piece. Oh boy, that to me is what a real bounty hunter looks like. We've not seen a real bounty hunter until Cad Bane showed up.
Yeah,
because he had that menacing look. He told them what it was. He was threatening. Boba, too much of a softie now.
Yeah, way too much.
Doesn't know what he's doing. Mando, also getting a bit soft.
He's a softie, but he's a good fighter.
He's a good fighter, but he's becoming more than just a bounty hunter. I think at the start of the series, he was just doing it for money. That was his way.
Grogu's the chink in his armor.
But Grogu's the chink. It softened him. He saw the world. Like, he talked with the other Mandalorians and was like, why are you taking off your helmets? You're breaking the rights. And then he starts to understand more about the world, learning about Jedi. Like, he's very well travelled. And so part of that has opened his vision how things are. Cad Bane, older guy, bound down to a very long time, very set in his ways, and he's very good at his job.
He was menacing.
He was very scary.
I think he's the first villain in all of the Disney Star Wars that's actually menacing.
Yeah.
Is there another one that's been actually genuinely scary?
No.
Or seemed like a threat?
No.
Someone you don't want to get in the way of?
Because even just his features, like those spiky teeth, I saw like the person's lip getting caught on them. I was like, oh man.
And his massive red eyes.
Yeah.
He's a great looking villain.
Yeah. People did a re-CGI of him because some people didn't like his face was a lot. Because in Clone Wars as well, it's stylized, so his face was longer, and so they did different iterations. Like if his face was longer, if he was a bit more bluer. I think his blue tinge
He could have
works.
been a bit bluer.
I think it works well though because he's like old as now.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He was like middle-aged in Clone Wars times.
Okay.
So he's like 80, 90 years old now.
Righto.
He's
He
an old
reminded
fella.
me of the Man in Black from Westworld. Have you seen that show?
Parts of it, yeah.
It's a Ed Harris makes a great cowboy villain.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, he's very cowboy, rogue sort of guy. Very menacing. Loved it. Loved the tension. Knew what was happening, and again, the deputy had to be there to be all like trigger happy and like,
At least
classic
he
Western.
took the most of the shots. I'm glad the Marshal probably isn't dead.
Yeah, well, that's the funny thing too. When they shot the Marshal, it was like one shot and Marshal was out, but that other guy, he just went boom, 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 which I'm like, okay, that to me signals you're dead.
Yeah.
Getting shot like 5 times, that's pretty That's right. I say Cad Bane shows up, gives his piece. He's a real bounty hunter. Everyone else who claims to be a bounty hunter looks like a schoolgirl compared to him.
Yep. Oh, I don't know. There was that. Who are those lizard people?
Yeah.
Oh wait, do you mean just in this show?
Just in when we like looking at bounty hunters
From Star Wars? That lizard dude in Empire?
Oh yeah, like
he's freaky looking.
Like those guys are freaky, but I think more in the recent shows and stuff. Because Boba, I reckon, could have been a very menacing character.
He could have been
had they not made him just a soft puppy.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I guess now the townsfolk have a reason to go fight.
Yep, they do. And they're going to be doing it without their main guy, probably.
Mm.
But that's the thing, man. It is true. We need good people to step up. That's exactly what it is.
That's a good messaging.
Yeah. When good people don't step up, evil wins.
Mm.
And the price of being apathetic, what happens with apathy is you get ruled by evil people. We're experiencing that. Yeah.
In many different ways in the world today.
I think it's pretty clear about how we're experiencing it in the world today.
Yeah, but I'm saying there's more. It's not just in politics. It's not just
also
in media.
institutions. And stuff.
It's like throughout everything.
Yeah, institutions and business. Yeah.
So then we have the casino scene, which I saw coming a mile away.
Yep.
Did you see that too? As soon as I walked in with just one little thing there, I was like, okay.
Oh, I wasn't expecting that. But when they got up to leave immediately after, I'm thinking, wait, you don't have the thing.
Yeah, see, we were both like that.
Yeah.
And then the main lady, she doesn't realize until the droid's like, wait, you left your thing. That's when she's like, oh, I would have probably looked at them very carefully, and if they'd left anything, I would have been like, everyone just get the hell out of there.
They took that from an Al Capone movie, where there's a guy where it's prohibition, and the guy's coming around to bars to try and sell alcohol, and he brings a case with him, and he's like, the bartender's like, I'm not buying anything from you. He's like, okay, fine. He leaves the case there, and then the kid comes out like, you forgot your thing, and then bam.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, strong scene.
Yeah.
And I wish that was the cliffhanger. I wish they'd ended on that, because guess what? It would have stayed with Boba.
Yep.
And I feel like with the story with Luke and Grogu, it was enough that we had something to come back to in Season 3.
Yeah.
Because guess what? Grogu's still with Luke. Mando's out doing his thing. There's a bit of catch-up to have, but it's enough that we can, we know what Mando's done, what the situation is there, but I think right now, especially with the explosion of the casino, I'm a lot more invested in the story with the Pike Syndicate and the spice running and Boba.
Because there's stakes established.
There's stakes there, where everything else is kind of just, I want to see more Luke and Grogu because of what's already happened in the past.
Yeah, everything else that we had seen between, like, the tension building in Mos Espa was all just posturing.
Yeah.
But now there's an actual result.
Yeah, exactly. We're actually seeing some damage happening, and so that's when I was like, oh, yes, we're getting to the good bits.
Yep.
But then, of course, that can't be the end. We had to go back to Grogu and Luke.
And
so basically we get 2 cliffhangers in this one show, which I think is awful direction and really bad writing.
Yeah.
You don't give you a cliffhanger and then expose another scene and then give another cliffhanger.
Well, sometimes it does work, but it only usually works for, like, the second movie, if there's a trilogy planned.
Yeah.
Like, Halo, it worked for Halo 2.
But like
2 cliffhangers there.
Also, I feel like it has a converging story. Like, for example, in some episode, or most of Star Wars, you get to a point where the story branches off and more than one thing's happening. It makes sense that we are having more on cliffhanger because we're following stories of Leia and Luke doing off their own thing. Again, happening here now with Mando and Boba, but because it's Boba's show, I think we've lost way too much on Mando and his story and Grogu. And now it's, again, infiltrating the show that it shouldn't be involved in.
But it's weird, though, because that has been the best part of this, well, at least the stuff with Mando.
Yeah.
Separated from even the Grogu stuff and the Tatooine stuff, has been the best. And it was only one episode.
Only one episode.
And then Luke gives him an ultimatum, which is about the worst thing that you could possibly do to a kid. Like, why would you do that?
I think he was... I think Luke is flawed in this judgment. I think Ahsoka's like, you'll know what to do, and he's just trying to figure it out. I think he's just under stress, and he's like, crap.
But what is there to be stressed about? The kid's a slow learner, so what? He's 50 years old, he's still a toddler. It's going to take him a while to learn.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe... Yeah, this is where I have flaws with it too, because... I'll read my paragraph, and then I reckon we'll have a long-ass discussion about it.
Go on, man.
So,
go with it.
Here are my thoughts. First, where did Luke get Yoda's lightsaber? Is this the same thing with Episode 7 Anakin's lightsaber? Like, it just showed up?
Yep.
And then I was like, oh no, I'm getting those same feelings again. Stuff isn't going to be explained. It's going to be the same thing as Palpatine returning.
Yeah.
He's returned. Just because, a short time for you is a long time for someone else. I think that had some depth to it. I think that would have been a great opener to have a mature conversation with Grogu.
Yeah, it's incorrect though technically, right? Just as a long time for you can be a short time for someone else. It works both ways, right? So, who said this? I can't remember where I saw it, but someone broke down how memory works in humans across time, and our scale of time actually decreases exponentially over our age. So, like for example, when does memory start to kick in? Around like 2?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, from the ages of 2 to 1, that's your entire life so far, right?
Yeah.
From the ages of 2 to 4, now your time scale is halved.
Yeah.
So that's why like your youth feels like an eternity, whereas now things have sped up.
Yeah,
you know.
up, yeah.
Same thing will work with the kid.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But even
it'll feel much longer to him than it will to Mando, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, kind of, in a way, but at the same time, for example, I think what Luke's trying to say is, like, a short time for you, for example, if you're going to be training for a little bit, Mando could be dead by the time that you become, more capable. And I think it's a hard truth to be spoken, and that they probably should have more conversation with that. Grogu should be like, I don't know, this is where I think a good forced conversation should be had, as Grogu saying, like, I understand that, but also here are my thoughts and feelings.
Yeah. Or we could have a good character interaction, like clashing of characters between Mando and Luke.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
And then maybe possibly a little fight. I don't
know.
Yeah.
He's put his... Mando's fought Moff Gideon.
Well, he's an old guy with a heavy sword, He did fight... He managed to survive like a 10-second engagement with
those big droids?
No. What's the Lady Jedi's name? Ahsoka.
Ahsoka. Yeah, true. He can hold his hand with Ahsoka.
The fact that he survived for longer than 3 sword swipes. Against a Jedi, that's a big thing.
That's plot armor right there.
And I don't think Luke would actually try to kill him in a fight.
No, because Luke is. I mean, that's the whole thing. There was a really cool analysis, with Vader and stuff.
Yep.
Because that's why he's wearing black, because it was the presence of Luke could turn to the dark side in this movie.
But then he's like...
Exactly, and then when he chooses the light side, then the little flap comes out and he's got the white on him.
Yep. Oh, man.
Great symbology.
That was such a bloody great...
Trilogy.
Okay, that's the thing. I'm not the biggest fan of 4. Yeah. Right? I love 5 and 6. Those are my 2 favourite Star Wars movies. And 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I mean, I think 4 was just a miracle it even got made. Because at the time, no one had any hope or any... I mean, they're like, yeah, George, have the rights to the toys. We don't think this movie is going to be very good.
$4 billion later. Have you seen... There's this YouTube... they kind of do what we do, except they're in Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
And they do really convincing deep fakes of like Hollywood people, and they did an incredible George Lucas. Where like, that's another check for Daddy.
I have seen those.
Classic.
Anyway,
but yeah, Yoda's lightsaber. That was lost in Episode 3.
Yeah, with the fight with Palpatine.
Yep.
I think it's just gonna be another thing where it just shows up because fans love it.
Yep.
Anyway, I really thought that the Jedis don't deal in absolutes. That's what Obi-Wan said.
That's true.
There's another thing that contradicts the Jedi way. And I think it's not fair because Luke, as a character, has attachments to Leia, Han, Chewie, even R2, and yet Grogu can't see Mando.
Yep.
And I finish up with saying, like, this is my rant with the whole attachment thing, then we can deep dive into it. Attachment is part of life, and instead of going cold turkey and never seeing someone again, Grogu should learn not to be attached himself as much to one person. And so that way... Because, for example, then I go on and say, like, because what if he does the same thing with Luke? Will be a problem then? Like, it is changing one problem with another problem. Basically, he still has the issue with attachment. He might just switch it to someone else.
Different
I think
size,
it's
the same coin.
better to have Mando show up and then Grogu train himself than to find other means of having that same problem. And if not, why? And then I just finished up saying, I think the bomb scene should have been the end credit, where Luke and Grogu scene should have been either earlier in the show, so when Mando leaves, then Luke has that conversation of, okay, I understand you miss Mando, you need to make a choice. Just in the ways of story beats, that would have made way more sense, instead of having a cliffhanger and then having a cliffhanger.
Yeah. I'm a child of divorce, okay? So getting a kid to make a choice like that is like supremely the most f***ed up thing you can do.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, okay, which parent do you want to go with? Okay, again, exact same thing with Luke and Mando, basically, right? You know, do you want to learn to be a Jedi, or do you want to stay, like, you can't do something like that to basically a kid. That's so messed up. And Luke doing that just made me even more angry.
It is out of his character, I think. Mm-hmm. And again, it's because the whole thing I understood with, maybe it's me not understanding what Filoni has talked to George about or whatever, but my understanding of the way that the sequel trilogy and after the original trilogy happened was that Luke learnt the ways and the mistakes that the Jedi had fallen.
Yep.
And so he corrects things. So, like, he gets a wife, which is attachment, has kids, and learns to be more compassionate, understanding, and to remember what Jedis were meant to be to begin with.
Yeah, exactly. And think about what our soldiers fight for. You think they just fight for the idea of queen and country?
Yeah.
No, they fight because maybe some of them just like it. I'm sure it's a lot of fun, actually, soldiering.
Yeah.
No, seriously.
No, I know.
But
Why do you think I play Call of Duty and stuff? Because it's fun shooting stuff.
No, I don't mean like that. I just mean like
soldiering.
Having a direct purpose.
Yeah, that's also really good for people.
But like, what do you call it? Faramir says in Lord of the Rings, I don't love the sword for its glimmer, nor the arrow for its swiftness, or the soldier for his whatever. I only love that which they defend. You know, soldiers fight for reasons. Like, why do you think if the people do come in to help with Tatooine, why do you think they're fighting? Attachment, you know?
So yeah, I think Luke probably should have meditated more on this idea, maybe even talked to Obi-Wan or his father, being like, hey, so there's this kid, because that's what you would do, you'd go to your mentor.
Yeah.
And be like, hey, this kid is at attachment, what's going on? And Anakin can be like, oh, I had attachment, and then I turned to the dark side.
Well, that's the thing, though. He turned to the dark side not because of his attachment, but because the Jedi had basically given him an ultimatum.
Yeah.
And love is the death of duty.
Yeah.
If you believe with your whole heart that if you betray someone, the person that you love will be kept alive, you'd take it.
Yeah.
You'd take it. Like, if someone came to you and said, you know, I can stop the person you love most from dying, all you have to do is work with me.
Yeah.
You'd take it in a heartbeat.
You would.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of the same reason that Ahsoka kind of left, because what they did was she got framed for something, and all the council, like Obi-Wan, Yoda, everything, exiled her. And then Anakin runs in and says, she's innocent, here's my proof. It was the attachment to Ahsoka that saved her.
Yeah.
Like, Anakin went through and did the investigation. And then all the council were like, oh, sorry about that. And then Ahsoka's like, none of you care for me, and you just look at the facts and you're corrupt. I'm leaving.
Yeah.
And then guess who resulted that pain the most? Anakin was the one that resulted in that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's parts of like Obi-Wan and Yoda who obviously have seen the failure of their ways, which again, and I connect that now to, maybe, you know, those three people, Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Yoda, who all saw the failures of, you know, the things that they did in their life, can probably appear to Luke as ghosts, like they have before, and been like, Luke, attachment is important.
Yep. Because being told you can't be attached to something, or being told you can't love something, or being forced to make decisions you really don't want to make, that leads to resentment. And resentment leads to hate.
And hate leads to
anger. And anger leads to the shadow of death.
And the dark side.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just feel like... And obviously Grogu's struggling right now.
He's a toddler.
He's a baby. And it must be hard for him, because guess what? He's had more positive experiences with Mando, and feels more safe with him than he did with the Jedi, probably. Because, I mean, who knows?
I mean, think about it. Mando went against his duty to help little fella. He was meant to turn him in. He's like, nope, screw that.
Didn't turn him in.
Yep.
Revealed his face, which got him excommunicated from the Mandalorian
order or
religion. So yeah.
Who really are the good guys, huh? That's the thing, though, right? Who's the more virtuous person? The person who's morally grey, has done bad things, and still goes, like, who breaks their own rules to do the right thing? Or is it someone who has always been morally light and has chosen to do bad things? Whether it's without, and usually without malice. For the greater good. Yeah, exactly. And without malice, you know? It's a tricky one.
No, I think Luke is out of character again.
Yeah.
I think he really should have... That is the thing I understood when watching. Maybe it's just my childhood eyes being all the like. You think that I'm innocent and nice now? Back then, I was even more naive and just like the world's.
I was
butterflies
awful when
and
I was a kid, man.
roses.
I was awful until probably till I got here, and even then, you know.
But no,
so...
what I'm saying is, whenever I saw Luke, I saw a loving, caring character who understood that the Jedi way back in the Republic times fell because of the tragedy of not caring, not loving, and becoming just corporate soldiers.
Well, that's the thing, yeah. Not caring is apathy, right? That's
Yeah.
what apathy means. It's to not care about something. And through their apathy, they let the Sith rise.
Yeah.
That's the consequence of apathy, is you get the corrupt people just come up and they take control.
And I mean, Luke is trying to build the Jedi Order, and then you get this very force powerful creature who obviously you want to keep, you want his... He's a new recruit.
Yeah.
You need that. You need to love him. And I reckon if I was Luke and I saw this youngling who looked like my old master and was going to be a Jedi, I'd get very invested, care for him a lot, and I wouldn't want him to leave.
Yep.
And it'd probably be very hard for me to come to that result of being like, okay, you need to either leave me left alone with this burden again, or stay and obviously hate it because you want to be somewhere else.
Yep. And don't, like, he's showing him that he's disappointed. He's telling him to make all these decisions that will be, one, heartbreaking to make. And try console the kid. I mean, he doesn't really talk, does he? But you can still communicate with him.
Yeah, and you can feel the way that he feels.
Yeah, it's a big dunk for Luke Skywalker.
It's a big miss again.
Yeah.
Which is sad because I was so excited for so long to see Luke back on screen to be like the powerful Jedi we all know and love.
Who's supposed to be, the person who
brings back order.
And tries to always make the right decision.
Yeah.
Not just like, the right for him decision, or even the right for the galaxy decision. Because it would have been right for the galaxy to kill Darth Vader in that circumstance, right? But he didn't. He waited, and then Vader made... George had nuance. The kind of nuance that you find from traditional stories, not the kind of nuance where it's like, oh, expectations subverted.
Yeah.
Cringe. See, that's not... It's not cringe to say cringe
okay.
when it's about things that are cringe.
Okay. No. So, man, I'm so lightheaded because of that chat. I like so much emotion and feeling. Yeah, I talked a lot.
Those are rookie numbers, dude. You gotta bump those numbers up.
I'm sorry, I'm not Shad.
Me neither. Yeah, Shad can go. He does 12-hour live streams with EFAP. I can't go that long, man.
Oh, God.
He's got stamina. No wonder he's got 5 kids.
Okay.
That was a sex joke.
Yeah. Sorry, children.
Yes. Sorry to children shouldn't be watching this. I gave a 101 in the drug trade.
Yeah, you see, I have family. And when I'm like, I'm working for a YouTuber, who do you think the first ones to go, oh, what's the channel? Do you know how reluctant I am now to give out the channel name?
I'm sorry.
That my nieces and nephews are like, oh, it's the Uncle Nathan on the screen. And I'm like, no, you don't. Because we talk about topics that your parents do not want you listening to.
Yeah. No, fair enough.
So sorry, children.
Sorry, kids, that you're not receiving this message because you're not watching this. If you are, tell your parents you're watching this and get grounded. I don't know.
Great. Anyways, that's been episode 6.
One more episode left.
One more left. The finale is next.
I wonder what's going to happen. I've already seen some clips. I saw, like, one of the mods pull out his gun in the lamest way.
I've already seen the episode, but I'll save my opinions for the next recording.
Well, we've been Nightly News.
No, we've got Night's Watch.
I keep getting it wrong.
You do.
And the outro for the last video was funny. I don't think we're going to top that. I think we should just call it quits right there.
Really? There's nothing else we can do?
Nothing else. He's getting naked. Damn it! This is the 5th time this week that's happened. Every day he comes in. He's like, "Hey Oz, how you doing? Actually, not. Yeah, let's all just get naked. Fine. It's naked time. It's naked news."
Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da.